This is Easy Drift Sleep, and tonight we have something special for you. We are going to guide you through your ancient Egypt journey, uncovering its hidden corners and forgotten details. If these evenings bring you comfort, tap subscribe now. Your next story is always just one sleep away. Take a slow breath, release what you are holding, and let your story begin. The first breath of dawn over the eastern bank of the Nile was not a sudden burst, but a slow, deliberate unfolding, like the petals of a sacred lotus opening to the sun. A soft, pearlescent light, still cool and hesitant, began to paint the sky above the distant, jagged cliffs of the Theban Necropolis. On the western bank, where the colossal statues of Memnon sat eternally vigilant, their immense forms slowly emerged from the retreating shadows of night. The air, crisp and clean from the river, carried the faint, sweet scent of newly watered fields and the earthy aroma of damp mud from the receding floodwaters. Neferu, a young scribe-in-training, stood on the flat rooftop of her modest home in the workman's village, her slender figure silhouetted against the burgeoning light. Her keen, observant eyes, the color of rich Nile mud, watched the transformation of the landscape with an almost reverent intensity. Her fingers, usually smudged with the black ink of her craft, were clean this morning, resting lightly on the rough mud brick parapet. A quiet determination hummed beneath her calm exterior, a yearning that felt as ancient and deep as the river itself. She was not merely observing the sunrise, she was witnessing the daily rebirth of Ra, a sacred cycle that felt increasingly threatened by the shifting sands of their world. Below, the village was stirring. The lowing of a cow, the distant bleating of a goat, and the rhythmic thud of a pestle against a mortar preparing grain for the morning meal, all rose to meet her. But Neferu's gaze remained fixed on the horizon, where the first direct rays of the sun were now touching the very tips of the monumental obelisks and pylons of Karnak, miles away on the eastern bank. The great temple complex, dedicated to Amun-Ra, the king of the gods, seemed to shimmer with an ethereal glow, a beacon of enduring power. Yet, even from this distance, Neferu knew the changes that were sweeping through its hallowed halls. The names of the old gods were being chiseled away, their images defaced, replaced by the singular, all-encompassing disk of the R10, the sun disk, championed by their new pharaoh, Rknah-10. A shiver, not of cold but of apprehension, traced its way down Neferu's spine. She revered the old ways, the intricate tapestry of deities that had guided Egypt for millennia. The thought of this rich heritage being erased, its stories silenced, gnawed at her. She felt a profound responsibility, a quiet burden, to record the true history, to capture the spiritual essence of Egypt before it was lost forever. Her heart ached for the forgotten knowledge, for the ancient texts that might be gathering dust in neglected corners, or worse, destroyed. She sought them out, these fragments of the past, with a quiet fervor that often went unnoticed by those around her. As the sun climbed higher, casting long, dramatic shadows across the fields of emmer wheat and flax, Neferu descended the narrow, winding stairs into the cool, dim interior of her home. The air inside was still and smelled faintly of baked bread and dried herbs. Her small writing kit, a wooden palette with cakes of black and red ink, a water pot, and a bundle of reed pens, lay neatly on a low table. Her fingers instinctively reached for a smooth, worn piece of papyrus. She felt an urge to capture this dawn, not just its visual splendor, but the weight of its meaning, the silent promise and the subtle threat it carried for her beloved land. Across the Nile, within the sprawling, magnificent complex of Karnak, Horem, a veteran temple guard, stood by one of the colossal pillars in the hypostyle hall. The early morning light, filtering through the clerestory windows high above, illuminated the intricate carvings on the sandstone, painting them in shifting patterns of gold and shadow. His imposing stature, honed by years of military service, was a formidable presence even amidst the grandeur of the hall. His face, weathered by the desert sun and etched with the scars of battles fought in distant lands, bore a permanent expression of vigilance, though his deep-set eyes held a quiet sadness, a longing for a past that felt increasingly distant. He watched the few priests and temple servants moving through the vast space, their footsteps echoing softly on the stone floor. The usual bustling energy of Karnak, the vibrant rituals and offerings that once filled these halls with sound and scent, had diminished. A quiet, almost unsettling stillness had settled over the temple, a testament to the pharaoh's decree. Horem's loyalty to the pharaoh was absolute, a soldier's unwavering duty, but his heart, a quiet chamber within his chest, held a deep reverence for the established order, for the pantheon of gods that had always watched over Egypt. He remembered the grand processions, the hymns sung to Amun-Ra, the incense rising to the heavens. Now, the air often carried a different kind of silence, a heavy, expectant quiet. His hand, calloused and strong, rested on the hilt of his ceremonial dagger. He was tasked with maintaining order in a time of profound religious flux, a duty that often brought him into conflict with those who dared to challenge the new traditions, or, conversely, those who sought to erase the old with too much zeal. He had seen the defacement of sacred images, the chipping away of names, the deliberate erasure of history. A part of him recoiled from it, even as he stood guard, ensuring the pharaoh's will was done. He had heard whispers of dissent, of secret gatherings, of those who clung to the old gods with a fierce, desperate devotion. He understood their pain, even if he could not openly share it. His gaze swept over a newly installed altar, stark and unadorned, dedicated solely to the Aten. It stood in stark contrast to the richly decorated shrines of Amun, Mut, and Khonsu, which now seemed to recede into the shadows, their vibrant colors muted by the new decree. Horem sighed, a barely perceptible exhalation that carried the weight of his dilemma. He was a guardian, not just of the pharaoh's peace, but, in his heart, of Egypt's soul. He felt a growing unease, a sense that something vital was being lost, something that even the might of the pharaoh might not be able to reclaim. Further south, in a bustling workshop near the Valley of the Kings, Khafra, a master architect and sculptor, bent over a large block of alabaster. His hands, though advanced in years and gnarled with the marks of a lifetime spent shaping stone, moved with a surprising delicacy. The morning sun, now warm and golden, streamed through the open doorway, illuminating the fine dust that danced in the air and settled like a soft veil over the tools and unfinished statues. The workshop hummed with the rhythmic tap-tap-tap of chisels against stone, the rasp of sandstone blocks being smoothed, and the low murmurs of apprentices. Khafra's eyes, deep-set and wise, held the accumulated knowledge of generations of builders and artists. They had seen the rise and fall of pharaohs, the construction of monuments that defied time, and the intricate beauty of sacred art. He spoke rarely, but when he did, his voice was calm and measured, carrying the authority of one who understood the very language of stone and spirit. He was a traditionalist to his core, deeply connected to the artistry that honored the gods, all of them, in their myriad forms. He was currently working on a small, intricate relief, a depiction of Osiris in the underworld, a piece commissioned by a wealthy noble who, like many, still clung to the ancient beliefs in the privacy of their homes. The delicate lines of Osiris's crown, the serene expression on his face, the subtle drapery of his robes, every detail was rendered with exquisite care, a silent act of defiance against the prevailing religious winds. Khafra felt a profound sorrow, a deep heartbreak at the neglect and defacement of the traditional temples. He had seen the damage, the deliberate chipping away of the names of Amun, the crude attempts to erase centuries of devotion. It was not just stone being defaced, it was the very spirit of Egypt, he believed, being wounded. He often found solace in the quiet act of creation, in preserving the sacred knowledge through his art. He taught his apprentices not just the techniques of carving, but the deeper meaning behind each symbol, each gesture, each deity. He spoke of the balance, of Ma'at, the cosmic order that encompassed all gods and all life. He believed that even in this time of upheaval, the old gods watched, waiting for their rightful place to be restored. He had, over the years, carefully documented designs, copied ancient texts, and even, in secret, guided a few trusted individuals to hidden passages and forgotten lore within the temples, hoping to inspire a return to the reverence for all gods. He felt the weight of his years, the inevitable approach of his own journey to the Duat, and with it, the urgency to pass on all that he knew, to ensure the flame of tradition did not extinguish. The sun climbed higher, its golden light now bathing the entire landscape in a warm, vibrant glow. The colossal statues of Memnon, now fully illuminated, seemed to gaze across the Nile with an ancient, knowing patience. The rhythmic creak of a distant felucca's mast, carrying goods and people across the river, was just audible, a gentle counterpoint to the growing sounds of the day. The air, now warmer, carried the mingled scents of baking bread, drying mud, and the faint, sweet perfume of blossoming acacia trees. Neferu, having completed her morning ritual of observation, now sat at her low table, her reed pen poised over a fresh sheet of papyrus. She dipped the pen into the black ink, its tip absorbing the rich pigment. Her mind was a tapestry of images, the rising sun, the distant, shimmering pylons of Karnak, the memory of defaced carvings, and the quiet determination that burned within her. She began to write, her nimble fingers moving with practiced grace, the ink flowing smoothly onto the papyrus. She started not with grand pronouncements, but with a simple, yet profound, observation of the world around her, a world that was both ancient and new, enduring and fragile. She would record it all, she vowed, every whisper of the old gods, every tremor of change, every hope for the future. Her story, and the story of Egypt, was just beginning to unfold. Neferu's quill danced across the papyrus, the fine reed tip whispering against the fibers as she meticulously documented the morning's observations. She had begun with the familiar, the sun's first rays catching the eastern pylon of the Temple of Amun at Karnak, painting its colossal stone with hues of rose and gold, a sight that had greeted generations of scribes before her. Yet, even this enduring majesty felt subtly altered, a quiet tension humming beneath the surface of the grand temple complex. The air, usually thick with the murmur of prayers and the bustle of offerings, now carried a different resonance, a cautious quietude, as if the very stones held their breath. The air, usually thick with the murmur of prayers and the bustle of offerings, now carried a different resonance, a cautious quietude, as if the very stones held their breath. Her fingers, stained perpetually with ink, paused, hovering above the page. She had recorded the usual procession of priests, their shaved heads gleaming in the nascent light, but she had also noted the absence of certain familiar rituals, the subtle shifts in the offerings laid before the lesser shrines. The great temple of Amun, once the undisputed heart of all worship, now felt like a grand, somewhat neglected ancestor, its immense presence still commanding, but its vital spirit slowly being siphoned away. This was the change she feared, the erosion she yearned to capture before it dissolved completely into the sands of time. She pictured the grand hypostyle hall, its forest of columns reaching for the heavens, each one a testament to the myriad gods, now standing in a strange, almost defiant silence. A soft knock at the door of her small, sun-dappled chamber, a space barely large enough for her writing stand and a narrow sleeping mat, pulled her from her thoughts. It was the familiar, gentle rap of Khafra, her mentor, the master architect whose hands had shaped stone for pharaohs and whose eyes held the wisdom of countless sunsets over the Nile. He rarely disturbed her during her morning studies, a silent acknowledgement of her need for focused concentration. "Neferu, my dear," his voice was a low rumble, like distant thunder, carrying the weight of age and experience. "Might I impose upon your diligent work this morning?" She quickly capped her inkpot, placing the quill carefully beside it. "Never, Khafra. Please, enter." He stepped into the room, his tall, lean frame stooping slightly to pass through the low doorway. The scent of stone dust and something else, something ancient and earthy, clung to him, a testament to his lifelong communion with the very foundations of Egypt. His face, a roadmap of fine lines etched by sun and contemplation, held a rare flicker of urgency in his deep-set eyes. He carried a rolled papyrus, not the crisp, new kind she used, but one that was aged and brittle, its edges frayed with time. "I have a task for you today, one that requires not just your nimble hand, but your keen eye and discerning spirit," Khafra began, his gaze sweeping over her meticulously organized workspace, a faint smile touching his lips. "It concerns the Temple of Mut, a place often overlooked, yet holding secrets as profound as any within the grand complex of Amun." Neferu's heart quickened. The Temple of Mut, Amun's consort, was a sacred site she revered, its quiet courtyards and serene lake offering a stark contrast to the bustling grandeur of Amun's domain. It was also a temple that had, of late, seen less attention from the Artenist reforms, perhaps deemed less significant by the zealous followers of the new sun disk. "What is it, Khafra?" she asked, her voice soft, eager. He unrolled the ancient papyrus with practiced care, revealing a faded, intricate drawing. It was a floor plan, not of the temple as it currently stood, but of an older, more complex structure with chambers and passages she did not recognize. "This is a plan, Neferu, of the original foundations of Mut's temple, as it was conceived by the ancestors. There are chambers, long sealed, long forgotten, that lie beneath the present structure, chambers that hold, certain records, certain designs, that Mentu and his ilk would see destroyed. Neferu felt a chill, despite the warmth of the morning sun streaming through the window. Mentu. The name itself was a cold wind. Mentu, the overseer of the Arten's new temple, a man whose eyes burned with a fanatical devotion to the sun disk, a man who saw the ancient gods as idols to be shattered, their temples as monuments to be defaced. She had seen the destruction he wrought, the chisels striking at the faces of Uther and Osiris, the sacred names of Amun scraped from temple walls. The thought of him discovering hidden knowledge that celebrated the very traditions he sought to eradicate, sent a shiver down her spine. "What kind of records, Khafra?" she whispered, leaning closer to the ancient map. "Designs, my dear, of specific rituals, of sacred geometry, of the very essence of the god's presence within the stone," he explained, his voice dropping to a near whisper. "And perhaps, more importantly, the true names of those who built these temples, their prayers, their hopes, their very souls etched into the foundations. Mentu seeks to erase all traces of the old ways, to rewrite history in the name of his new god. But these chambers, if they still exist, hold the truth, untainted." He pointed to a section of the faded map, a series of interconnected rooms beneath the temple's main sanctuary. "I believe there is an entrance, now concealed, within the western wall of the Hall of Offerings. It would be a narrow passage, easily missed by the casual observer, but built with the intent of secrecy." Neferu looked at the map, then back at Khafra, a question forming in her eyes. "You wish for me to explore these chambers?" He nodded slowly, his gaze steady, unwavering. "I am too old, my limbs too stiff for such an undertaking. But you, Neferu, you possess the agility, the quiet determination, and most importantly, the reverence for what lies hidden. You understand the sacredness of these stories, these designs. You must go, document what you find, and bring it back to me. We must preserve this knowledge, for the sake of Egypt, for the sake of the gods themselves." The weight of his words settled upon her, heavy and profound. This was more than just a scribe's task, it was a sacred mission, a defiance against the tide of change that threatened to sweep away the very soul of her land. The thought of venturing into forgotten chambers, into the cool, dusty embrace of millennia-old stone, filled her with a thrilling mixture of apprehension and excitement. She imagined the scent of ancient incense, the faint whisper of long-departed priests, the tangible presence of history. "I will go, Khafra," she said, her voice firm, resolute. "I will find these chambers, and I will record everything." Khafra smiled, a rare, genuine smile that softened the lines around his eyes. "I knew you would. Take this." He handed her a small, intricately carved wooden ankh, smooth and warm from years of handling. "It is a symbol of life, and a small lamp. Be discreet, Neferu. Mentu's eyes are everywhere, and his zealots are quick to report any deviation from their new dogma." With the ankh clutched in her hand, Neferu prepared for her journey into the veiled chambers. She gathered her writing tools, a fresh roll of papyrus, and a small, carefully sharpened chisel, just in case. The sun was higher now, its golden light bathing the city of Thebes, but her thoughts were already descending into the cool, shadowed depths of Karnak. She moved through the bustling temple complex with practiced ease, her slight frame allowing her to blend seamlessly into the flow of priests and temple workers. She passed the towering obelisks, their tips catching the sun like polished jewels, and the colossal statues of pharaohs, their serene gazes fixed on eternity. Each step felt like a journey through time, a walk through the echoes of countless generations. As she approached the Hall of Offerings, a sense of unease began to prickle at her skin. The hall, usually vibrant with activity, was quieter than usual, a few priests moving with a subdued air. Then she saw him, Mentu. He stood near the far end of the hall, his gaunt figure silhouetted against a patch of sunlight, his piercing eyes scanning the walls. A small group of his fervent followers gathered around him, their faces alight with an almost feverish devotion. He was speaking in low, intense tones, gesturing towards a section of the wall where the cartouche of Amun-Ra had been crudely defaced. Neferu's breath caught in her throat. Her heart pounded a frantic rhythm against her ribs. This was precisely the wall Khafra had described, the western wall, the very place where the hidden entrance was supposed to be. Mentu was dangerously close, his presence a palpable threat to her mission. She ducked behind a massive column, its hieroglyphs depicting ancient battles and divine blessings, now feeling like a shield against the fanaticism that permeated the air. She watched, her body tensed, as Mentu continued his discourse, his voice rising slightly, carrying snippets of his sermon to her hiding place. The old ways are but shadows, false idols that bind the spirit. The Aten, the true sun, illuminates all, purifies all. We must cleanse this sacred space, remove the vestiges of ignorance, so that the light may truly shine. His followers murmured in agreement, their eyes fixed on him with unwavering loyalty. A cold dread seeped into Neferu's bones. If Mentu discovered her, or worse, discovered the hidden chambers, all would be lost. She had to wait, to find an opportunity when his attention was elsewhere. The minutes stretched into an agonizing eternity, each tick of the sun's shadow a slow, deliberate torment. She could feel the cool, rough stone of the column against her back, its ancient energy offering a strange comfort amidst her fear. Finally, after what felt like an age, Mentu and his followers moved on, their voices fading as they proceeded deeper into the temple complex, presumably to continue their work of defacement. Neferu waited a few more moments, her ears straining for any lingering sounds, before cautiously emerging from behind the column. The hall was empty now, save for a lone priest sweeping dried offerings from the floor, his face a mask of weary resignation. She moved swiftly, her eyes scanning the western wall, searching for any subtle indication of a hidden passage. The stone blocks were massive, perfectly fitted, a testament to the unparalleled skill of the ancient builders. There was no obvious seam, no visible crack. She ran her fingers along the cool, smooth surface, feeling for any irregularity, any slight indentation. Then, her fingers brushed against something. Not a crack, but a subtle change in texture, a faint, almost invisible outline. It was a shallow indentation, barely perceptible, shaped like a stylized lotus flower. She pressed gently, remembering Khafra's words about the ingenuity of the old architects, their love for concealed mechanisms. Nothing happened. She pressed harder, then tried twisting it, her heart thumping with anticipation. With a soft, almost inaudible click, a section of the wall, no wider than her shoulders, began to recede inward, revealing a narrow, dark opening. A rush of cool, stale air, carrying the faint scent of dust and something else, something ancient and earthy, wafted out. It was the smell of forgotten time, of secrets held sacred for centuries. Neferu hesitated for only a moment, then, taking a deep breath, she slipped through the opening, pulling the heavy stone panel shut behind her with a soft thud. Darkness enveloped her, absolute and profound. She fumbled for the small lamp Khafra had given her, her fingers trembling slightly as she lit the wick. A small, flickering flame sprang to life, casting dancing shadows on the rough-hewn walls of the passage. The air in the passage was thick and heavy, laden with the dust of ages. She could feel the cool, dry air against her skin, a stark contrast to the sun-drenched hall she had just left. The passage sloped gently downwards, the floor uneven beneath her sandals. She moved slowly, cautiously, her lamp held high, its feeble light pushing back against the encroaching gloom. The silence was absolute, broken only by the soft scuff of her sandals and the rhythmic beat of her own heart. She thought of Khafra, his quiet determination, his unwavering faith in the enduring power of tradition. She thought of the countless scribes who had come before her, their hands meticulously recording the stories of gods and kings. She was now part of that lineage, a guardian of the past, a bridge to the future. The passage opened into a small antechamber, its walls adorned with faded hieroglyphs that depicted scenes of offering and prayer, their colors muted by the passage of time. The air here was even cooler, carrying the faint, almost imperceptible scent of millennia-old incense and dry papyrus, a ghostly perfume of devotion. In the center of the room stood a stone pedestal, and upon it, a single, beautifully preserved papyrus scroll, its edges still crisp, its surface covered in elegant, flowing script. Neferu approached the pedestal, her heart swelling with a profound sense of awe. This was it, the hidden knowledge, the forgotten wisdom Khafra had spoken of. She reached out a trembling hand, her fingers brushing against the ancient papyrus. It felt surprisingly resilient, a testament to the dry, stable environment of the sealed chamber. She carefully unrolled a small section, her eyes scanning the familiar hieroglyphs, her mind already beginning to decipher the intricate text. It was a detailed account of a specific ritual dedicated to Mut, a ceremony involving the alignment of stars and the precise placement of offerings, designed to invoke the goddess's protective power over the land. The text was accompanied by intricate drawings of the temple's original layout, showing subtle energy channels and sacred points within the stone itself, knowledge that had been lost to all but a select few. This was not merely a record, it was a blueprint of divine connection, a testament to the profound understanding the ancients had of the spiritual landscape. As she read, a profound sense of peace settled over her, a quiet understanding that transcended the fear and urgency of her mission. Here, in this hidden chamber, away from the clamor of change and the zealotry of Mentu, the old gods still breathed, their stories still resonated, their wisdom still offered solace. She imagined the priests who had once performed these rituals, their voices echoing through these very chambers, their prayers rising to the heavens. She spent hours in the antechamber, meticulously copying the scroll's contents onto her fresh papyrus, her quill moving with a renewed sense of purpose. Each stroke of ink felt like an act of defiance, a silent promise to preserve what was sacred. The flickering lamp cast long, dancing shadows around her, making the ancient hieroglyphs seem to come alive, whispering their secrets across the centuries. As the lamp began to dim, signaling the passage of time, Neferu carefully re-rolled the ancient scroll, placing it back on its pedestal. She knew she could not take the original, that its place was here, a guardian of its own secrets. But she had its essence, its wisdom, transcribed onto her own papyrus, ready to be shared with Khafra, ready to become a part of the enduring story of Egypt. She extinguished her lamp, plunging the chamber back into absolute darkness, a darkness that now felt less intimidating, more like a protective embrace. With a final, reverent glance at the unseen scroll, she turned and made her way back through the narrow passage, her heart filled with a quiet triumph. The cool, dusty air of the chambers had filled her with a sense of connection, a deep understanding of the enduring power of tradition, a resilience in the face of change. She had found not just ancient texts, but a profound affirmation of her own purpose, a quiet strength that would guide her through the uncertain times ahead. The veiled chambers of Karnak had revealed their secrets, and in doing so, had illuminated a path for Neferu, a path she was now determined to follow. The cool, dusty air of the chambers had filled her with a sense of connection, a deep understanding of the enduring power of tradition, a resilience in the face of change. She had found not just ancient texts, but a profound affirmation of her own purpose, a quiet strength that would guide her through the uncertain times ahead. The veiled chambers of Karnak had revealed their secrets, and in doing so, had illuminated a path for Neferu, a path she was now determined to follow. Yet, the world outside the hidden passages of Karnak remained a turbulent place, a shifting landscape where the old gods seemed to recede like the annual floodwaters, leaving behind parched earth and anxious hearts. Neferu emerged from the temple's shadowed depths as the sun dipped below the western horizon, painting the sky in hues of fiery orange and deep violet, a stark contrast to the quiet, eternal truths she had just embraced. The grand pylons of Karnak, usually bustling with priests and petitioners, now felt eerily quiet, their colossal forms standing as silent sentinels over a city slowly losing its way. The air, once thick with the scent of incense and blooming lotus, now carried a faint, unsettling tang of neglect, a subtle shift that only those deeply attuned to the temple's pulse could discern. Her heart, though buoyed by her discovery, still carried a heavy weight, a premonition of the challenges that lay ahead. The texts she had unearthed spoke of ancient rituals, of the intricate balance between Ma'at and Isfet, of the profound spiritual connection between the living and the divine, all knowledge that the new Atenist decree sought to erase. She clutched the small, carefully wrapped papyrus scroll closer to her chest, its fragile weight a tangible reminder of her sacred duty. The city of Waset, once the vibrant heart of Amun, now felt like a stage where a new, austere play was being performed, its familiar actors replaced by those who spoke a different language of faith. As Neferu navigated the labyrinthine streets, her soft sandals barely disturbing the fine dust, the sounds of the evening began to envelop her. The distant bleating of goats, the murmur of voices from open doorways, the rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer echoing from a far-off workshop, all these familiar sounds were punctuated by the occasional, unsettling chant of Aten's hymns, carried on the gentle breeze from newly erected shrines. She kept her head down, her keen eyes observing everything, yet revealing nothing. Her scribe's training had taught her the art of invisibility, of moving through the world as an observer, a recorder, a silent witness. Her path led her past the bustling marketplace, where vendors were packing away their wares, their calls now subdued. The scent of roasted pigeon and fresh bread mingled with the earthy aroma of dried dates and exotic spices, a comforting symphony of daily life. But even here, a tension lingered, a subtle unease that permeated the air like the fine desert dust. People spoke in hushed tones, their glances quick and wary. The joy that once characterized these evenings, the easy laughter and boisterous banter, seemed to have retreated, replaced by a cautious reserve. Suddenly, a shadow detached itself from the deepening twilight near a crumbling mud brick wall. Neferu's hand instinctively tightened on the papyrus. A figure emerged, tall and broad-shouldered, his silhouette unmistakable even in the fading light. It was Horam, the veteran temple guard, his imposing presence a familiar fixture around Karnak. He stood with the quiet stillness of a seasoned hunter, his gaze sweeping the street with an almost predatory intensity. His face, etched with the scars of battles and the weight of duty, was a mask of weary vigilance. Neferu, his voice was a low rumble, devoid of inflection, yet carrying an undeniable authority. He stepped forward, his heavy leather sandals thudding softly on the packed earth. You linger late within the sacred precinct. The shadows grow long, and the city is not as safe as it once was for those who hold to the old ways. His eyes, dark and piercing, fixed on her, lingering for a moment on the slight bulge beneath her linen tunic where the scroll was concealed. He said nothing of it, but his observation was clear. Neferu met his gaze, her own unwavering, though a tremor of apprehension ran through her. "I was merely finishing my daily duties, Horam. There is much to record, much to preserve, especially now." She chose her words carefully, knowing the guard's fierce loyalty to the established order, yet also sensing a deeper, unspoken sorrow within him for the traditions that were being eroded. She knew of his quiet devotion to Amun, a devotion he now had to temper with public compliance. Horam grunted, a sound that could mean anything or nothing. Preservation, yes. But some things are best preserved in silence, little scribe. The ears of the new priests are long, and their patience short for those who question the Aten. He paused, his gaze drifting towards the distant, newly whitewashed temple dedicated to the sun disk, its dark lines an affront to the intricate artistry of Amun's ancient house. A flicker of something akin to pain crossed his stern features before he quickly masked it. The pharaoh's decree is absolute. We serve the pharaoh. And what of the gods who served Egypt for millennia before this pharaoh? Neferu dared to ask, her voice barely a whisper, yet imbued with a quiet defiance. Are their truths so easily discarded? Are there stories to be erased from the very stones they built? Horam's jaw tightened. He took a step closer, his presence almost overwhelming. Such thoughts are dangerous, Neferu. They lead to sedition. They lead to unpleasantness. He lowered his voice further, his eyes darting around the darkening street. I have seen men disappear for less. You are a clever girl, with a quick mind. Do not waste it on foolish rebellion. His words were a warning, but beneath the gruff exterior, Neferu detected a faint undercurrent of concern, a reluctant acknowledgement of the peril she faced. "I seek only to understand, Horam," she replied, her voice steady. "To record. To ensure that future generations know the full breadth of our history, not just the chapters that please the current moment." She knew she was pushing the boundaries, but the urgency of her mission compelled her. The weight of the papyrus against her skin felt like a living thing, urging her forward. He studied her for a long moment, his gaze unwavering, as if trying to decipher the hieroglyphs of her soul. Then he sighed, a sound like grinding stone. "The river calls to you, does it not? The old stories, the hidden currents." It was not a question, but an observation, revealing a surprising depth of understanding. "Be careful, Neferu. The Nile holds many secrets, but it also carries away those who venture too far from the shore." With that cryptic warning, he turned and melted back into the shadows, leaving Neferu alone with the growing darkness and the echoes of his words. His words, though unsettling, also contained a strange resonance. The Nile. It was true, the river had always drawn her, its ceaseless flow a metaphor for time itself, carrying both life and death, memory and forgetting. It was a place where the old gods still held sway, where the rhythm of life remained largely unchanged, untouched by the decrees of pharaohs. And she knew, instinctively, that the river would be her next guide, her next refuge. The following morning, before the first rays of the sun had kissed the colossal statues of Memnon, Neferu made her way to the river bank. The air was cool and crisp, carrying the earthy scent of damp soil and the fresh, clean aroma of the Nile. A thin mist still clung to the water's surface, shrouding the distant eastern bank in an ethereal veil. The rhythmic creak of a felucca's mast and the gentle lapping of the Nile against its hull were the only sounds, a soothing balm to her anxious heart. She found Arya, the robust, jovial boatman, already preparing his felucca, the lotus blossom, for the day's journey. His sun-darkened face was crinkled in a smile as he adjusted a sail, his movements fluid and practiced. He hummed a tuneless melody, his voice a low, comforting baritone. Arya knew the Nile like the back of his hand, its currents, its moods, and its hidden coves. He was pragmatic and superstitious, believing in the river's ancient magic, a belief that resonated deeply with Neferu. "A good morning to you, Neferu," Arya called out, his booming laugh echoing across the water. "Early bird catches the freshest fish, eh? Or perhaps the freshest papyrus?" His eyes twinkled, always quick to observe. He had often ferried her across the river to the Valley of the Kings, or to secluded spots where she could sketch rare birds or study ancient inscriptions on forgotten rock faces. He knew of her quiet quest for knowledge, though he never pried into the specifics. "A good morning, Arya," Neferu replied, a genuine smile touching her lips. His presence was always a comfort, a steady anchor in a world that felt increasingly adrift. "Today, I seek not fish, but a different kind of catch. I need to travel south, beyond the usual crossings, to the quieter stretches of the river, near the temple of Mut at Karnak, but on the western bank, where the reeds grow thick." Arya paused, his hand still on the rope, his smile fading slightly. He cast a quick glance towards the eastern bank, towards the towering pylons of Karnak, now bathed in the soft, golden glow of the rising sun. The reeds grow thick there, indeed, he mused, his voice losing some of its usual joviality. And the river runs deep. Not many venture there these days, not unless they seek solitude or something to hide. He looked at Neferu, his gaze shrewd but not unkind. The new priests have their eyes everywhere, little scribe. Even the river has ears. Neferu knew he was right. The Atenist reforms had brought with them an atmosphere of suspicion, a network of informants and zealous adherents who reported any deviation from the new doctrine. But the urgency of her mission, the weight of the ancient knowledge she carried, compelled her forward. I seek only quiet contemplation, Aya, and perhaps a rare species of water lily for my studies. The old ways of observation, you understand. She hoped her explanation was vague enough to satisfy him without revealing the true, dangerous nature of her quest. Aya studied her for a moment longer, his eyes, the color of the Nile at dusk, searching hers. He was a man of the river, accustomed to reading unspoken currents and hidden depths. He saw the quiet determination in her eyes, the subtle tension in her posture, and the way her hand instinctively brushed against the hidden papyrus. He knew she was not merely seeking water lilies. But he also knew Neferu, knew her deep respect for the old gods, her quiet integrity. And he knew the river. Very well, he said, a slow smile returning to his face, though tinged with a hint of gravity. The river is generous to those who respect it. But we must be swift, and we must be silent. The lotus blossom will carry you. He gestured for her to board, his strong hand offering assistance. As Neferu stepped onto the felucca, the wooden planks creaked softly under her weight. The boat was simple but well maintained, its single sail now unfurling like a giant white wing against the brightening sky. The air was filled with the scent of sun-warmed wood, river water, and Aya's faint aroma of fish and sweat, a comforting, earthy smell. She settled onto a woven mat near the bow, the gentle rocking of the boat already beginning to soothe her. Aya pushed off from the bank with a long pole, his muscles rippling under his linen tunic. The felucca glided effortlessly into the current, its sail catching the gentle morning breeze. The sounds of the city quickly began to recede, replaced by the rhythmic splash of water against the hull and the soft flapping of the sail. The sun, now fully risen, cast a golden sheen over the vast expanse of the Nile, making the water sparkle like a million scattered jewels. They sailed south, past the familiar landmarks, past the bustling ferry crossings and the fields where farmers were already tending their crops. Neferu watched the world go by, her mind a whirlwind of thoughts and anxieties. The papyrus she carried contained fragments of an ancient ritual, a ceremony dedicated to the goddess Mut, the consort of Amun, a deity whose worship was now actively suppressed. The texts hinted at a hidden passage, a secret chamber beneath the temple of Mut, accessible only from the river, a place where sacred knowledge had been safeguarded during times of upheaval. If such a passage truly existed, it would be a sanctuary, a repository of the very truth she sought to preserve. As they ventured further south, the river narrowed slightly, and the banks became wilder, less cultivated. Tall papyrus reeds grew in dense thickets, their feathery tops swaying gently in the breeze, creating a whispering curtain between the river and the land. The air grew stiller, permeated by the earthy scent of marshland and the faint, sweet perfume of unseen water lilies. Birds, unseen in the city, now flitted among the reeds, egrets, herons, and kingfishers, their calls echoing across the tranquil water. Aya steered the felucca with practiced ease, his eyes constantly scanning the water, reading the subtle shifts in the current, the telltale ripples that indicated hidden sandbars or submerged obstacles. He was a part of the river, an extension of its ancient wisdom. He hummed softly, a low, wordless melody that seemed to blend with the sounds of the water and the wind. "Here," Aya said suddenly, his voice hushed, breaking the comfortable silence. He pointed with his chin towards a particularly dense thicket of papyrus reeds on the western bank. "The currents grow tricky here. And the bank is steep, almost like a cliff face, hidden by the reeds. It is said that in the time of the Old Kingdom, there were secret entrances to tombs along this stretch, places known only to the priests of the dead." He looked at Neferu, his eyes serious. "Is this where your water lilies bloom, little scribe?" Neferu nodded, her heart quickening. This was it. This was the place described in the ancient texts, the place where the river met the hidden world. "Yes, Aya. This is precisely where I need to disembark." Aya skillfully maneuvered the lotus blossom closer to the bank, pushing through the thick curtain of reeds. The air grew heavy, damp, and still, filled with the buzzing of unseen insects. The sunlight, once bright, now filtered through the dense foliage, casting dappled shadows on the water. The reeds scraped softly against the hull of the boat, a whispering chorus that seemed to guard the secrets within. He brought the felucca to a gentle stop against a small, muddy bank hidden within the reeds. The bank was steep, as he had said, rising sharply into a wall of rock and earth, almost entirely concealed by the papyrus. Neferu peered intently at the bank, her eyes searching for any sign, any anomaly in the natural landscape that might betray a hidden entrance. "I will wait for you here," Aya said, his voice low. "But do not linger. The river is a generous host, but it can also be a demanding one. And the eyes of the pharaoh's men are not limited to the city walls." His warning was clear, a reminder of the ever-present danger. Neferu thanked him, her voice barely audible above the rustling of the reeds. She carefully stepped off the boat, sinking slightly into the soft mud before finding firmer footing. The air here was thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying vegetation, a primal smell that spoke of ancient beginnings. She pushed her way through the dense papyrus, their tall stalks brushing against her, their feathery tops tickling her face. As she moved deeper into the thicket, the sounds of the river faded, replaced by the rustling of the reeds and the distant chirping of unseen birds. The world around her became a green, whispering tunnel, a secret passage in itself. She followed the subtle clues from the papyrus, searching for a specific arrangement of stones, a particular growth of ivy, a small, almost imperceptible fissure in the rock face. Her fingers, usually nimble with a reed pen, now traced the rough textures of the rock, feeling for any irregularity. The cool, damp air clung to her skin, and the silence, broken only by her own breathing, was profound. She felt a thrill of anticipation, a deep sense of purpose that transcended any fear. This was not just a historical quest, it was a spiritual pilgrimage, a desperate attempt to safeguard the very soul of Egypt. After what felt like an eternity, her fingers brushed against something cold and smooth, unlike the rough natural rock. She pushed aside a curtain of thick, clinging ivy, her heart pounding in her chest. There, almost entirely concealed, was a perfectly cut block of limestone, its edges softened by millennia of erosion, but undeniably man-made. It was set into the rock face, blending seamlessly with its surroundings, a testament to the ancient builder's mastery of concealment. And in the center of the block, faint but discernible, was a carving, a stylized lotus flower, its petals unfurling, a symbol of rebirth and creation, and beneath it, the faint outline of a small, watchful eye, the eye of Horus, a protector against evil. This was it. This was the sign described in the texts, the marker of the hidden passage. Neferu carefully examined the stone. There were no visible hinges, no obvious handle. The ancient text spoke of a subtle mechanism, a pressure point, a specific sequence of touch. She remembered the words, "Where the lotus blooms, and the eye watches, press the heart of the flower, then the tear of the eye, and the stone shall yield its breath." Taking a deep breath, Neferu placed her finger on the carved center of the lotus flower, pressing gently but firmly. Nothing happened. A wave of disappointment threatened to wash over her, but she steadied herself. Then the tear of the eye. She moved her finger to the small, teardrop-shaped marking beneath the eye of Horus, a detail she had almost missed. She pressed. With a soft, almost imperceptible groan, a sound like ancient bones shifting, the stone block began to recede inwards, slowly, silently, revealing a narrow, dark opening beyond. A gust of cool, stale air, carrying the faint scent of millennia-old incense and dry papyrus, wafted out, touching her face like a ghostly whisper from the past. Neferu peered into the darkness. The passage was narrow, barely wide enough for one person, and plunged into an inky blackness that seemed to swallow the faint light from the river. A shiver ran down her spine, a mixture of awe and trepidation. This was not merely a hidden chamber, this was a doorway to another time, a sanctuary of forgotten wisdom. She hesitated for only a moment, the weight of the papyrus scroll against her chest a constant reminder of her purpose. She reached into her small satchel, retrieving a tiny oil lamp she had brought, its wick already prepared. With a practiced hand, she lit it, and a small, flickering flame danced to life, casting dancing shadows on the rough-hewn walls of the newly revealed passage. The light illuminated a short, downward-sloping tunnel, its walls carved directly into the rock, smooth and cool to the touch. The air, though stale, felt sacred, imbued with the quiet reverence of centuries. This was a place untouched by the changing winds of doctrine, a sanctuary where the old gods still held sway. With a final glance back at the whispering reeds and the distant gleam of the Nile, Neferu stepped into the darkness, the small flame of her lamp a beacon against the encroaching shadows. The stone block, with another soft groan, began to slide back into place, sealing the passage behind her, leaving her in the profound silence of the earth, a guardian of forgotten wisdom, a bridge between eras, ready to face whatever secrets the Nile's secret passage held. The cool, dusty air within the ancient tomb embraced her, a silent welcome to a world long hidden, a world she was now destined to rediscover. The cool, dusty air within the ancient tomb embraced her, a silent welcome to a world long hidden, a world she was now destined to rediscover. Neferu stood for a long moment, allowing her eyes to adjust to the profound darkness that swallowed even the faint glow of her lamp. The air, though cool, was not stagnant. A subtle current whispered past her cheek, carrying the faintest scent of dry earth and something else, something ancient and indefinable, like time itself. Her heart, which had pounded a frantic rhythm against her ribs moments before, now settled into a steady, resonant beat, echoing the deep silence of the earth around her. She took a slow, deliberate breath, the dust tickling her nostrils, and then raised her lamp, its single flame casting dancing shadows that stretched and writhed like ancient spirits on the rough-hewn walls. The passage was narrow, barely wide enough for her shoulders, and sloped gently downwards. The walls were not adorned with the vibrant paintings she was accustomed to seeing in the grander tombs of the Valley of the Kings, but were instead rough-cut stone, bearing the marks of chisels wielded by hands long turned to dust. Her fingers, still smudged with ink from her day's duties, traced the cool, uneven surface as she moved, a silent communion with the artisans who had carved this secret way. Each step she took sent a soft scuff of sand echoing into the vast, unseen spaces ahead, and the sound seemed to be absorbed, rather than reflected, by the ancient stone. After what felt like an eternity, but was perhaps only a few minutes, the passage widened into a small, circular chamber. Here, the air was even cooler, and the scent of dry earth mingled with a faint, sweet aroma, like dried herbs or forgotten resins. Her lamp revealed a low, stone pedestal in the center of the room, upon which rested a single, intricately carved wooden box. The wood, dark with age, was etched with symbols she recognized as protective amulets and hieroglyphs invoking the old gods, Osiris, Isis, Horus, gods whose names were now whispered in hushed tones, their temples defaced, their worship suppressed by the fervent Atonists. A shiver, not of fear but of profound reverence, traced its way down her spine. This was it, then. This was the hidden knowledge, the forgotten wisdom her mentor had hinted at, the very heritage she yearned to protect. With trembling hands, Neferu reached for the box. Its surface was smooth and cool beneath her touch, and as her fingers brushed against the latch, a faint, almost imperceptible hum seemed to emanate from within. She hesitated for a moment, a fleeting thought of the dangers she faced, of Mentu's relentless pursuit of those who clung to the old ways, but her resolve, forged in the quiet determination of her spirit, quickly overcame any apprehension. She unlatched the box, the soft click echoing disproportionately loud in the stillness. Inside, nestled on a bed of what appeared to be dried linen, lay a scroll of papyrus, its edges frayed with age, its surface a pale, creamy yellow. But it was not the only item. Beneath the scroll, she discovered a small, polished obsidian disc, no larger than her palm, its surface reflecting the lamplight with an almost liquid sheen, and a single, perfectly preserved lotus seed, shriveled but whole, radiating a faint, almost imperceptible warmth. Neferu carefully lifted the papyrus. Its weight was surprisingly light, and as she unrolled it, a faint, earthy aroma rose from its surface. The hieroglyphs inscribed upon it were not the common script of her time, but an older, more elegant form, filled with intricate details and archaic flourishes. Her heart quickened as she began to decipher the opening lines, her nimble mind, trained in the meticulous art of scribing, quickly grasping the ancient language. It spoke of cycles, of celestial alignments, of the sacred union between the heavens and the earth, and of a hidden wisdom passed down through generations of priestesses, guardians of the true balance. It was a chronicle, not of kings and battles, but of cosmic truths, of the very pulse of creation. She spent hours in that small chamber, the flame of her lamp flickering, casting her shadow tall and distorted against the rough stone walls. The air grew cooler as the night deepened above ground, but Neferu felt no chill, only a burning intensity as she absorbed the words, allowing them to seep into her very being. The scroll detailed the precise astronomical observations required to predict the great celestial alignments, moments when the veil between worlds thinned, when the gods themselves were said to draw closer to the mortal realm. It spoke of the significance of the star Sirius, of the precession of the equinoxes, and of the hidden power of the Nile, not merely as a source of life, but as a living conduit to the cosmic currents. As dawn approached, a faint, almost imperceptible shift in the air signaled the coming day. Neferu carefully re-rolled the papyrus, placing it back in the wooden box with the obsidian disc and the lotus seed. She knew she could not take it with her yet. It was too precious, too vulnerable to discovery. This chamber, this secret place, would be its sanctuary for now. She committed the initial teachings to memory, her mind a vast repository for the ancient wisdom, and then, with a final, reverent glance at the box, she began her ascent back to the surface. The journey back through the narrow passage felt longer, the air heavier, as if the weight of the secret she now carried pressed down upon her. When she finally reached the sliding stone block, she pressed against the hidden mechanism, and with a soft groan, it began to move, revealing a sliver of the pale, pre-dawn light. She slipped through, resealing the passage behind her, the sound of stone grinding against stone a final, definitive click. Stepping out into the cool, pre-dawn air of the temple complex, Neferu found herself standing amidst the colossal statues of Memnon, their silent, weathered faces turned towards the east. The sky was a canvas of deep indigo, streaked with nascent rose and gold, and the first rays of the sun were just beginning to touch the distant peaks of the Theban hills. A profound sense of peace, mingled with a quiet determination, settled over her. She had found a piece of what she sought, a tangible link to the past, a testament to the enduring power of tradition. Her path led her towards the Nile, where the air was cooler and carried the damp scent of the river. The rhythmic creak of a felucca's mast and the gentle lapping of the water against its hull provided a soothing counterpoint to the racing thoughts in her mind. She watched as the first fishermen cast their nets, their silhouettes stark against the brightening sky, and a distant call of a night bird, perhaps a heron, echoed across the water. The world was waking, oblivious to the ancient secret she now held within her heart. As the sun climbed higher, painting the landscape in hues of gold and amber, Neferu made her way towards the bustling heart of the BZ. Her duties as a scribe-in-training awaited her, but her perspective had irrevocably shifted. The mundane tasks of copying decrees and cataloging offerings now felt infused with a new purpose. She was not merely recording the present, she was safeguarding the past, preparing for a future where the old ways might once again find their voice. Days turned into weeks, and Neferu continued her meticulous work, her outward demeanor calm and unassuming, but her inner world ablaze with the knowledge she had uncovered. She spent her evenings poring over the scrolls in the temple library, searching for corroborating texts, for subtle hints that would illuminate the ancient papyrus she had found. Her keen, observant eye scanned every line, every illustration, seeking connections, piecing together the fragmented tapestry of Egypt's spiritual heritage. One afternoon, as she was meticulously cataloguing a collection of votive offerings in a lesser-used storeroom of the Karnak temple complex, a shadow fell across her work. She looked up to see Mentu, the Artenist zealot and temple overseer, standing in the doorway. His gaunt frame seemed to fill the opening, and his piercing eyes, usually alight with a fervent, almost fanatical devotion to the Arten, now held a glint of suspicion that made Neferu's blood run cold. Neferu, Mentu's voice was a low, resonant rumble, devoid of warmth. You spend much time in these forgotten corners, among these relics of a bygone era. He gestured dismissively at the dusty shelves filled with statues of Osiris and Isis, their faces chipped, their altars long abandoned. The light of Arten shines brightest in the open courts, under the pure sun, not in these shadowed places. Neferu straightened, her slender form betraying no hint of the tremor that ran through her. "Overseer Mentu," she replied, her voice steady despite the apprehension coiling in her stomach. "I am merely fulfilling my duties, ensuring all records are complete, even those pertaining to the past. Our scribal tradition demands thoroughness." She held up a small tablet, ostensibly cataloguing a broken offering bowl. Mentu's gaze lingered on her, sharp and unsettling. "Thoroughness is commendable, young scribe. But one must be careful not to mistake reverence for the past with a clinging to false idols. The Fay Rose decree is clear, the Arten is the one true God. All other devotions are but shadows, distractions from the true light." He took a step closer, his presence radiating an intensity that made the air feel heavy. "I have observed your quiet diligence, Neferu. You are skilled, precise. But I have also observed a certain attachment to the old ways, a curiosity that borders on defiance." Neferu met his gaze, her own eyes, though outwardly calm, held a spark of defiance that she struggled to suppress. "My devotion is to Ma'at, overseer," she stated, invoking the ancient concept of truth, balance, and cosmic order. "To the principles that uphold our land, as taught by our ancestors." It was a careful choice of words, a subtle challenge that avoided direct mention of the old gods, yet implicitly defended their traditions. A muscle twitched in Mentu's jaw. Ma'at is found in the pure worship of Aten, Neferu. Any other path leads to chaos, to darkness. Be mindful of your steps, young scribe. The Pharaoh's will is absolute, and those who stray from it find themselves in deep shadow indeed. He turned abruptly, his robe swirling around him, and strode out of the storeroom, leaving Neferu alone amidst the dust and the forgotten gods. A sigh of relief escaped her lips, but it was short-lived. Mentu's words were a clear warning, a thinly veiled threat. He suspected her, perhaps not of her exact activities, but of her underlying loyalty to the old traditions. His vigilance would only intensify, making her quest even more perilous. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the Nile in fiery hues, Neferu sought solace by the river banks. The rhythmic creak of a felucca's mast and the gentle lapping of the water against its hull were a familiar comfort. She watched the stars begin to emerge, pinpricks of light against the deepening indigo sky, and her thoughts turned to the celestial alignments described in the ancient scroll. The next significant alignment, it had stated, was only a few weeks away, a rare conjunction of planets with the rising of Sirius, a moment of profound spiritual significance, a time when the veil between worlds was thin. The scroll hinted that during this alignment, certain ancient rituals, long forgotten, could be performed to re-establish the balance, to draw the cosmic energies back into the land. The weight of this knowledge pressed upon her. She was a scribe, not a priestess, yet the scroll seemed to be speaking directly to her, urging her to act. The thought of performing such a ritual, alone and without guidance, was daunting, almost terrifying. But the alternative, allowing the ancient wisdom to fade, allowing the land to drift further from its sacred balance, was unthinkable. Over the next few weeks, Neferu worked with a renewed sense of urgency, her days a careful dance between her official duties and her secret quest. She continued to visit the hidden chamber, meticulously studying the ancient papyrus, committing its intricate details to memory. She began to subtly gather the necessary components for the ritual described in the scroll, specific herbs, certain polished stones, a small, unblemished clay vessel. Each item was acquired with utmost discretion, her sharp senses always alert for Mentu's watchful gaze. One sweltering afternoon, while transcribing a royal decree in the bustling scribal chambers, Neferu overheard hushed whispers among the senior scribes. They spoke of a rare royal appearance, a procession of the pharaoh and the great royal wife, Nefertiti, through the streets of Thebes, culminating in a grand ceremony at the great temple of Aten. It was an unusual event, designed to reinforce the new religious order, to display the pharaoh's unwavering devotion to the Aten, and to quell any lingering dissent. A spark of an idea ignited within Neferu. The procession would draw large crowds, creating a distraction, a moment of chaos that might offer her a window of opportunity. The ritual described in the scroll required a specific location, a place of ancient power, where the Earth's energies converged with the celestial currents. The scroll had cryptically referred to it as the heart of the lion, a place where the sun's first rays touched the oldest stone. Neferu suspected it lay within the oldest, most inaccessible parts of the Karnak complex, perhaps even beneath it. The day of the royal procession arrived, heralded by the blare of trumpets and the rhythmic beat of drums. The air in Thebes thrummed with anticipation and a nervous energy. Neferu, dressed in her simple scribal robes, mingled with the throngs of people lining the processional route. The sun beat down relentlessly, shimmering off the golden ornaments of the royal guard and the polished surfaces of the temple pylons. Then, the pharaoh appeared. Akhenaten, his distinctive, elongated features visible even from a distance, rode in a gilded chariot, flanked by his guards. Beside him, in a chariot of equal splendor, sat Nefertiti, her iconic crown gleaming, her serene beauty captivating the crowds. A hush fell over the people as the royal couple passed, a mixture of awe and fear in their gazes. Neferu watched, her heart a complex mix of emotions. She saw the power, the unwavering conviction in Akhenaten's eyes, but also a certain detachment, a zealous focus that seemed to blind him to the ancient soul of his land. As the procession continued towards the Aten temple, the crowd surged forward, eager to catch a glimpse of their divine rulers. This was her chance. Slipping away from the main thoroughfare, Neferu navigated the labyrinthine back alleys and lesser-used passages of Karnak. The air grew cooler, dustier, as she moved deeper into the older sections of the temple, away from the newly consecrated Aten courts. She found herself in a neglected courtyard, surrounded by crumbling walls and colossal, defaced statues of Amun and Mut, their features deliberately chipped away. The silence here was profound, broken only by the distant echoes of the royal procession. In the center of the courtyard stood a single, massive obelisk, its tip broken, its hieroglyphs faded by centuries of sun and sand. This was it, she realized, a thrill of recognition coursing through her. The heart of the lion. The scroll had described it as a place where the ancient earth pulsed with forgotten power, where the earliest sun worshippers had first marked the passage of time. Beneath the obelisk, partially obscured by rubble and overgrown weeds, Neferu discovered a small, almost imperceptible opening in the stone paving. It was a narrow shaft, barely wide enough for her to squeeze through, leading down into the earth. This was not the passage to her hidden chamber, but another, even older, secret way. Taking a deep breath, she lit her small lamp, its flame a fragile beacon against the encroaching darkness, and began her descent. The shaft was steep and uneven, the air growing progressively cooler and heavier with each foot she descended. The scent of dry earth was strong here, mingled with the faint, metallic tang of ancient stone. After what felt like an endless journey into the earth's embrace, the shaft opened into a vast, subterranean cavern. Neferu gasped softly, her lamp casting its feeble light upon a sight that stole her breath away. The cavern was enormous, its ceiling lost in shadow, its floor a smooth, polished stone. In the center, bathed in an ethereal, almost phosphorescent glow that seemed to emanate from the very rock itself, stood a massive, perfectly preserved statue of a lion-headed goddess, Sekhmet, the fierce protector, the bringer of both destruction and healing. Her eyes, carved from obsidian, seemed to follow Neferu's every move, and her powerful form radiated an ancient, undeniable energy. Around the base of the statue, carved into the polished floor, was an intricate astronomical chart, depicting the constellations and planetary alignments, all centered around the rising of Sirius. This was the place, the true heart of the lion, the sacred nexus where the earth and sky converged. The air here was thick with power, a palpable hum that vibrated through her very bones, a profound sense of cosmic connection that transcended time and dogma. Neferu felt a surge of both awe and terror. This was far grander, far more potent than she had ever imagined. The ritual described in the scroll, designed to be performed here, was no mere symbolic act, it was a profound act of spiritual intervention, a reweaving of the very fabric of existence. She understood now why this place had been hidden, why its knowledge had been so fiercely guarded. It held the power to restore balance, but also, perhaps, to unleash forces beyond human comprehension. She carefully placed her small clay vessel, filled with the herbs and polished stones she had gathered, at the base of Sekhmet's statue. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from the sheer weight of responsibility that now rested upon her slender shoulders. The celestial alignment was only days away, and she, a simple scribe, was now tasked with performing a ritual that could reshape the spiritual destiny of Egypt. The whispers of the old gods, long suppressed, seemed to echo in the vast cavern, urging her forward, reminding her of the enduring power of tradition, of resilience in the face of change, and of the sacredness of the Nile, flowing silently above, a lifeline connecting her to the very heart of her ancient land. The whispers of the old gods, long suppressed, seemed to echo in the vast cavern, urging her forward, reminding her of the enduring power of tradition, of resilience in the face of change, and of the sacredness of the Nile, flowing silently above, a lifeline connecting her to the very heart of her ancient land. Neferu stood before the ancient altar, its surface worn smooth by the touch of countless generations, a silent testament to a faith that had endured millennia, now threatened by the fervent, singular vision of the Aten. The air, cool and still, carried the faint, earthy scent of damp stone and something else, a subtle, sweet aroma, like dried lotus blossoms, clinging to the shadows. Her fingers, still smudged with the ink of yesterday's hurried transcriptions, traced the faded hieroglyphs carved into the altar's edge, symbols of protection and rebirth, each one a prayer in stone. A shiver, not of cold but of profound awe, ran down her spine. The weight of the papyrus scroll, clutched tightly in her hand, felt immense, as if it contained not just words but the very essence of forgotten rituals, the breath of deities long uninvoked in the grand temples above. She knew the risks of this clandestine endeavor, the severe penalties for those who defied the pharaoh's new decrees, yet a deeper, more ancient loyalty compelled her. The celestial alignment, a rare conjunction of stars and planets, was only days away, and she, a simple scribe, was now tasked with performing a ritual that could reshape the spiritual destiny of Egypt, a desperate plea to the cosmos to remember the old ways. As the first faint streaks of dawn began to paint the distant eastern sky, filtering through unseen crevices high above, casting ethereal shafts of light into the cavern, Neferu emerged from the hidden passage. The cool, dusty air of the tomb gave way to the crisp, dew-kissed breath of morning. The colossal statues of Memnon, still shrouded in the lingering mists, stood sentinel on the horizon, their massive forms slowly emerging from the gloom, casting long, silent shadows across the fertile fields of the West Bank. The rhythmic chirping of crickets was giving way to the first tentative calls of morning birds, a symphony of awakening life that seemed to mock the solemnity of her secret mission. She pulled her linen shawl tighter around her shoulders, the fine fabric offering little protection against the pre-dawn chill, but a comforting barrier against prying eyes. Her mind, however, was not on the cold, but on the intricate dance of stars and planets, on the ancient text she had painstakingly deciphered, and on the quiet, unwavering conviction that this path, though fraught with peril, was the only one. She had spent the night in the cavern, studying the scrolls, memorizing the chants, and preparing her heart for the profound responsibility that lay before her. The journey back to the scribal quarters, usually a familiar path, now felt laden with a new significance, every rustle of the palm fronds, every distant bark of a dog, a potential harbinger of discovery. As she navigated the narrow, winding paths that led from the necropolis towards the bustling riverbank, the first signs of daily life began to stir. Farmers were already leading their donkeys towards the fields, their voices low and guttural in the still air. The scent of wood smoke mingled with the earthy smell of the Nile, a familiar and comforting aroma that grounded her amidst the swirling uncertainties of her task. She kept her gaze downcast, her movements swift and purposeful, a shadow among the awakening world, her heart a drumbeat against her ribs. Upon reaching the scribal quarters, a warren of small, sun-baked rooms nestled within the outer walls of a minor temple complex, Neferu slipped inside her own chamber. The small lamp, left burning low, cast a warm, flickering glow on the papyrus rolls stacked neatly on her writing desk. She placed the ancient scroll carefully beneath a loose flagstone in the floor, a secret known only to her, a sacred trust. The weight of the world, it seemed, now rested upon her slender shoulders, a burden she accepted with a quiet, fierce determination. Later that morning, as the sun climbed higher, painting the sky in hues of brilliant gold and azure, Neferu found herself in the bustling courtyard of the Karnak temple complex. The air thrummed with activity, priests overseeing offerings, artisans carving intricate reliefs, and scribes like herself, diligently recording decrees and rituals. Yet, beneath the veneer of normalcy, an undercurrent of unease rippled through the ancient stones. The grand pylons, once adorned with the vibrant images of Amun and his divine family, now bore the stark, singular disk of the R10, a jarring testament to the pharaoh's radical reforms. Many of the older priests moved with a quiet resignation, their eyes holding a distant sorrow, while the younger ones, eager to embrace the new order, spoke with a zealous fervor that often bordered on disrespect for the old ways. Neferu was tasked with transcribing inventories of temple provisions, a mundane duty that allowed her mind to wander, to piece together the fragments of ancient knowledge she had discovered. Her nimble fingers, stained with ink, moved swiftly across the papyrus, forming elegant hieroglyphs, but her thoughts were far away, in the hidden cavern, with the forgotten gods. She felt a profound sense of urgency, a desperate need to preserve the true history, the spiritual essence of Egypt, before it was irrevocably lost. The Artenist reforms, while proclaiming a new era of enlightenment, felt to her like a deliberate erasure, a tearing away of the very fabric of their spiritual heritage. As she worked, a shadow fell across her papyrus. She looked up to see Horemheb, the veteran temple guard, standing over her. His imposing stature and weathered face, etched with the scars of battles and the weight of duty, always commanded respect and a certain apprehension. He was a man of the old guard, fiercely loyal to the pharaoh and the established order, yet his eyes, though sharp and observant, often held a quiet sadness, a longing for a past that was rapidly fading. He had seen too many changes, too many shifts in power, to be entirely comfortable with the current upheaval. Neferu, Horemheb's voice was a low rumble, like distant thunder, yet not unkind. Your hand is swift, as always. But your mind, I sense, is elsewhere. His gaze, piercing and direct, seemed to probe beyond her calm demeanor, seeking out the hidden currents of her thoughts. He had always watched her, not with suspicion exactly, but with a cautious curiosity, recognizing in her a quiet intelligence that set her apart from the other scribes. Neferu met his gaze, her own eyes, keen and observant, betraying nothing. My mind is on the task, Horemheb. These provisions must be accounted for precisely. She offered a small, polite smile, a practice mask. Horem grunted, a sound that could mean anything from agreement to skepticism. The pharaoh's decrees demand precision, yes. But the gods, Neferu, demand more than just numbers. He paused, his eyes sweeping across the bustling courtyard, lingering for a moment on the defaced images of Amun. A flicker of pain, quickly suppressed, crossed his features. There are whispers, Neferu. Whispers of old rituals, of forbidden texts. The pharaoh's agents are vigilant. His words were a warning, thinly veiled, yet spoken with a hint of concern that surprised her. He was a man of duty, but also a man who understood the deeper currents of his land. Whispers are just that, Horum, Neferu replied, her voice steady, though her heart quickened its pace. The people are loyal to the Aten, as is the pharaoh's will. She knew this was a lie, a necessary one, for the common folk, particularly in the distant villages, still clung to their ancient gods, their traditions woven into the very fabric of their lives. Horem's gaze sharpened, a faint frown creasing his brow. Loyalty can be a fragile thing, little scribe, especially when the heart is torn. Be careful where you seek your knowledge, and with whom you share your thoughts. He turned abruptly, his heavy sandals thudding softly on the stone, and walked away, leaving Neferu with a renewed sense of urgency and a deeper understanding of the precarious tightrope she walked. His warning, she realized, was not just about the pharaoh's agents, but perhaps also about his own internal conflict, his own quiet sadness for the past. Later that afternoon, seeking a moment of respite and a chance to gather her thoughts, Neferu made her way to the workshop of Khafra, the master architect and sculptor. His workshop, tucked away in a quieter corner of the temple complex, was a sanctuary of tradition, a place where the old god still held sway, at least in the intricate designs and unfinished statues that filled the space. The air here was thick with the scent of chiseled stone, wood shavings, and the faint, sweet aroma of beeswax, a comforting blend that spoke of enduring craftsmanship. Khafra, a man of advanced years, his hands gnarled but still capable of exquisite detail, was meticulously carving a small, delicate uraeus, the coiled cobra symbol of pharaonic power, onto the brow of a miniature bust of Osiris. His eyes, though clouded with age, held the wisdom of generations of builders, and he spoke with a calm, measured authority that always soothed Neferu's anxious mind. He was a traditionalist, deeply connected to the artistry of the gods, and his heart, Neferu knew, was broken by the neglect and defacement of the traditional temples. "Ah, Neferu," Khafra said, looking up from his work, his gaze warm and welcoming. "You seek counsel, I perceive. Your spirit is troubled, child, like the Nile before a storm." He gestured with his chisel towards a low stool beside his workbench, inviting her to sit. Neferu settled onto the stool, the cool stone a welcome anchor. "Master Khafra, the changes, they are becoming more profound. The pharaoh's agents grow bolder in their zeal. I fear for the ancient texts, for the knowledge that is being deliberately forgotten." Her voice was barely a whisper, laden with the weight of her fears. Khafra sighed, a long, weary sound that seemed to carry the sorrow of centuries. "Indeed, child. The sands of time shift, and with them, the currents of faith. But true knowledge, Neferu, is like the bedrock beneath the desert, it endures, even when buried." He picked up a small, intricately carved wooden ankh, turning it over in his calloused fingers. "I have seen many pharaohs, many changes. This zeal for the Aten, It is a powerful fire, but even the greatest fires eventually burn themselves out, leaving only ash. But what if it consumes everything, Master? Neferu pressed, her eyes wide with concern. What if the old ways are lost forever, the rituals forgotten, the gods uninvoked? Khafra's gaze softened, a knowing light in their depths. Then it falls to those who remember, Neferu, to keep the flame alive. The pharaoh may command the visible world, but the spirit world, that is another matter entirely. There are passages, hidden not just from the eyes of men, but from the very memory of time, where the old gods still breathe. He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, the scent of cedar and aged papyrus clinging to his robes. You seek knowledge, Neferu, knowledge that will guide you in this celestial alignment, yes? Neferu nodded, her breath catching in her throat. She had not explicitly told him about the alignment or her secret mission, yet he seemed to know, his wisdom extending beyond mere observation. There is a place, Khafra continued, his eyes distant, as if seeing beyond the workshop walls, into the mists of time. A hidden chamber beneath the Temple of Mut, accessible only through a forgotten passage, known only to a select few master builders. My own grandfather, a man of great foresight, helped design its concealment. Within, you will find not only texts, but also the very tools, the very instruments, needed to perform the ancient rites, rites that predate even the Amun priesthood. He paused, his gaze returning to Neferu, sharp and unwavering. But the path is perilous, Neferu. It requires not just courage, but a deep reverence, a pure heart. I will go, Master, Neferu declared, her voice firm, all traces of doubt banished by his words. I will find this chamber. Tell me how. Khafra smiled, a rare, gentle smile that crinkled the corners of his eyes. Beneath the third pylon of the Mut Temple, to the left of the Great Sphinx Avenue, there is a small, weathered relief of a falcon-headed god, Horus, but not as he is commonly depicted. His eye, the one facing south, is slightly recessed. Press it, Neferu, and a passage will reveal itself. But be swift and be silent. The guards of the Aten walk even those hallowed grounds with suspicion. He reached into a small, leather pouch tied to his belt and pulled out a small, intricately carved scarab beetle, fashioned from dark green steatite. Take this. It is a charm of protection and a key. Within the chamber, you will find a pedestal with a hollow. Place the scarab there, and the texts will reveal themselves in a way that only one with a true heart can understand. Neferu took the scarab, its smooth, cool surface a tangible link to the ancient world. Thank you, Master Khafra. I will not fail you. As the sun dipped below the western horizon, painting the sky in fiery hues of orange and purple, Neferu prepared for her clandestine journey. The air grew cooler, the sounds of the day slowly giving way to the nocturnal symphony of chirping insects and the distant, mournful call of a jackal. She waited until the temple complex was mostly deserted, the last of the priests and workers having retired to their quarters, leaving only the vigilant, but often predictable, patrols of the temple guards. Under the cloak of deepening twilight, Neferu made her way towards the Temple of Mut, her heart a steady drumbeat against her ribs. The colossal statues, now mere silhouettes against the fading light, seemed to watch her progress with silent, ancient eyes. The Sphinx Avenue, usually bustling with pilgrims, was eerily quiet, the massive stone beasts guarding an emptiness that felt profound. She moved with the silent grace of a desert fox, her soft sandals making no sound on the worn flagstones. Reaching the third pylon, she carefully located the relief of Horus. Her fingers, trembling slightly with a mixture of fear and anticipation, traced the outline of the falcon's head, searching for the recessed eye. When she found it, her thumb pressed gently, firmly. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a low, grinding rumble that seemed to reverberate through the very earth, a section of the wall, disguised so perfectly it was indistinguishable from the surrounding stone, slowly slid inwards, revealing a narrow, dark passage. The air that wafted out was cool and dry, carrying the faint, sweet scent of millennia-old incense and dry papyrus, a scent that spoke of forgotten rituals and sacred knowledge. Neferu slipped inside, the passage closing behind her with a soft thud, plunging her into absolute darkness. She fumbled for the small oil lamp she had brought, its flame sputtering to life with a soft hiss, casting dancing shadows on the rough-hewn walls. The passage was narrow, barely wide enough for one person, and slanted downwards, leading her deeper into the earth, away from the world of men and into the realm of the gods. The silence was profound, broken only by the soft scrape of her sandals and the rhythmic thumping of her own heart. After what felt like an eternity, the passage opened into a larger chamber, circular in shape, its ceiling lost in the gloom above. The air here was even cooler, carrying a palpable sense of antiquity, of sacredness. In the center of the chamber stood a stone pedestal, its surface smooth and dark, with a distinct hollow in its center. Neferu approached it, her lamp held high, illuminating the intricate carvings that adorned its sides, images of gods and goddesses, their faces serene and powerful, their stories etched in stone. She reached into her pouch and pulled out the scarab Khafra had given her. Its cool, smooth surface felt reassuring in her palm. With a deep breath, she placed it into the hollow on the pedestal. As the scarab settled into place, a soft, ethereal light began to emanate from within the pedestal, growing steadily brighter, illuminating the chamber with a gentle, golden glow. The light revealed not only the intricate carvings on the walls, but also rows upon rows of niches, each holding ancient papyrus scrolls, carefully preserved and waiting. Neferu's eyes widened in awe. This was it, the hidden legacy, the forgotten wisdom Khafra had spoken of. She carefully took one of the scrolls from its niche, her fingers reverently tracing the faded hieroglyphs. The papyrus felt fragile, yet imbued with an immense power, a silent testament to the enduring strength of tradition. As she unrolled it, the faint scent of dried lotus blossoms, so similar to the aroma in the hidden cavern, filled the air, a whisper from the past, a promise of revelation. She spent hours in the chamber, poring over the texts, her lamp casting a warm circle of light around her. The scrolls contained not just rituals, but also detailed astronomical charts, prophecies, and philosophical treatises on the nature of the cosmos and the interconnectedness of all life. There were diagrams of celestial alignments, intricate calculations that spoke of a profound understanding of the heavens, far beyond what she had previously imagined. she found references to the exact celestial conjunction she was preparing for, a rare event believed to open a direct conduit between the earthly realm and the divine, a moment when prayers could be heard with unparalleled clarity. Among the scrolls, she discovered a specific ritual, one that spoke of drawing upon the life force of the Nile itself, channeling its ancient power to amplify the invocation, to mend the fractured spiritual balance of Egypt. It was a ritual of profound reverence, requiring not just precise movements and chants, but a deep, unwavering faith, a complete surrender to the will of the gods. The text described how the waters of the Nile, when blessed under the specific celestial alignment, became a living conduit, a river of divine energy. As she absorbed this knowledge, a new understanding began to dawn within her. The celestial alignment was not just about invoking the gods, it was about restoring harmony, about reminding the cosmos of Egypt's ancient covenant, a covenant that had been disrupted by the pharaoh's singular devotion to the Aten. It was about reaffirming the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, the enduring power of tradition, and the sacredness of nature, especially the life-giving Nile. Lost in the profound wisdom of the ancient texts, Neferu did not notice the subtle shift in the air, the almost imperceptible change in the chamber's atmosphere. A faint, rhythmic thudding began to echo from the passage, growing steadily louder. Her head snapped up, her heart leaping into her throat. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate footsteps. She quickly rolled up the scroll she was reading, her movement swift and silent, and returned it to its niche. The golden light from the pedestal flickered, as if sensing the impending intrusion, then steadied. She extinguished her lamp, plunging the chamber into near darkness, relying only on the soft glow from the scarab. Her eyes darted around, searching for a place to hide, her mind racing. The footsteps grew louder, closer, accompanied by the low murmur of voices. They were speaking in hushed tones, but Neferu recognized the clipped, authoritative accents of the pharaoh's temple guards. Panic, cold and sharp, pricked at her. How had they found this hidden passage? Had Khafra been discovered? Or had Horem's warning been more prescient than she had realized? A sliver of light appeared at the entrance to the chamber, growing into a harsh, flickering glow as a torch was brought forth. Two figures, their silhouettes massive against the light, stepped into the chamber. Neferu pressed herself against the cold stone wall, her breath held captive in her chest, praying to the gods that the shadows would conceal her. The report spoke of a hidden chamber beneath Mut, one of the guards muttered, his voice gruff. A place of forbidden knowledge. The pharaoh's agents are thorough. And zealous, the other added, his tone laced with a hint of weariness. This endless searching for old gods, it is tiresome. They began to explore the chamber, their torches casting erratic shadows that danced across the ancient carvings. Neferu's heart pounded against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the oppressive silence. She could feel the rough texture of the stone against her cheek, the cool air on her skin, every sense heightened by the adrenaline coursing through her veins. She watched, frozen, as one of the guards approached the pedestal, his torch illuminating the glowing scarab. "What is this?" the guard grunted, reaching out a hand to touch the ancient artifact. Just as his fingers were about to make contact, a sudden, sharp clang echoed from the passage entrance. Both guards spun around, their torches swinging wildly. "Who goes there?" the first guard bellowed, his hand going to the hilt of his dagger. A figure emerged from the passage, tall and imposing, his face shadowed by the flickering torchlight. It was Horum. His presence was a surprise and a profound relief, yet also a source of confusion for Neferu. Was he here to apprehend her, or was he here for another purpose entirely? "You trespass in a sacred place." Horum's voice, though low, carried an undeniable authority that made the two guards hesitate. "This chamber is under the direct protection of the temple elders. Your orders do not extend to such hallowed ground without explicit permission." The first guard, though clearly unnerved, tried to assert his authority. "We are on the pharaoh's business, Horum. We have reports of seditious materials, of old cults being revived." Horum took a step forward, his shadow looming over them. "And I am on the pharaoh's business as well, ensuring the sanctity of these ancient places. These are not seditious materials, but historical records, preserved for the pharaoh's own understanding of his lineage. You disturb a delicate archaeological survey. Your zeal, while commendable, must be tempered with respect for the pharaoh's broader interests." His words were a masterful deception, crafted to appeal to their loyalty while subtly undermining their immediate purpose. The second guard, younger and less confident, looked uncertainly at his companion. "He speaks the truth. We were told to be discreet, not to cause undue disturbance." The first guard, though still suspicious, clearly recognized the weight of Horum's authority and the potential repercussions of defying a senior temple guard. He grumbled, but lowered his hand from his dagger. "Very well, Horum. We will report your presence here, and the nature of your survey. Do so," Horum replied, his voice unwavering. "And inform them that I have secured the chamber, and will personally oversee its continued preservation." He watched them as they reluctantly retreated back into the passage, their footsteps fading into the distance. As the last echoes died away, Horum turned slowly, his gaze sweeping the chamber. He extinguished his own torch, plunging the space back into near darkness, save for the gentle glow of the scarab. Neferu, still pressed against the wall, held her breath, unsure of his intentions. "You may emerge, Neferu." Horum's voice was calm, devoid of anger, yet laced with a profound weariness. "I knew you would find this place. Khafra sought me out, knowing I would understand the importance of this knowledge. He spoke of your dedication, your reverence for the old ways." Neferu slowly stepped out from the shadows, her limbs stiff, her mind reeling from the encounter. You saved me, Horum. But how did you know?" Horum sighed, running a hand over his weathered face. "I have seen too much, Neferu, to believe that truth can be contained by a single decree. The pharaoh's vision, while grand, is also narrow. Egypt is built on the wisdom of generations, not just one man's will. Khafra, bless his stubborn heart, knew that the pharaoh's agents would eventually find this place, or at least search for it. He tasked me with ensuring its protection and with guiding you, should you prove worthy." He walked towards the pedestal, his eyes falling upon the glowing scarab. "This artifact, it is a key, not just to texts, but to a deeper understanding. The celestial alignment is upon us, Neferu. The time for whispers is over. The time for action has come. He looked at her then, his gaze piercing, yet filled with a newfound respect. You carry a great burden, little scribe. But you do not carry it alone. The old gods, they are not truly forgotten. They merely wait for those with the courage to remember. His words, though spoken with a soldier's bluntness, resonated with a profound spiritual depth, a testament to his own quiet sadness for the past and a renewed purpose in safeguarding Egypt's heritage. The air in the chamber, once thick with fear, now hummed with a different energy, a sense of shared purpose, of a silent covenant forged in the heart of ancient stone, beneath the watchful eyes of forgotten deities. The celestial alignment was only days away, and Neferu, with Horem as her reluctant protector, now held the ancient texts, the sacred knowledge, and the enduring hope that Egypt's spiritual destiny could yet be preserved. The days that followed blurred into a focused intensity for Neferu and Horem, a quiet storm brewing beneath the deceptive calm of Thebes. The celestial alignment, the very heart of the ancient prophecy, drew nearer with each sunrise, painting the eastern sky in hues of rose and gold that seemed to hold a deeper meaning now, a promise of revelation or perhaps ruin. Neferu, her slender fingers often smudged with the fine dust of ancient papyrus, spent countless hours within the hidden chamber, meticulously poring over the scrolls she had salvaged. The air, cool and dry, carried the faint, sweet scent of cedar and aged linen, a fragrance that spoke of forgotten hands and whispered wisdom. She transcribed, translated, and cross-referenced, her keen eyes tracing the elegant hieroglyphs that detailed the intricate dance of stars and the precise rituals required to honor the old gods during this rare cosmic event. Horem, ever vigilant, stood guard at the chamber's entrance, his imposing figure a silent sentinel against the encroaching zealotry of Mentu. His presence, once a source of unease for Neferu, had transformed into a comforting anchor, a solid wall against the shifting sands of their turbulent world. He listened, sometimes, to Neferu's soft murmurs as she deciphered a particularly complex passage, his weathered face betraying a flicker of curiosity, a grudging respect for the depth of knowledge she possessed. He had begun to see beyond the young scribe-in-training, recognizing in her a fierce guardian of the very heritage he was sworn to protect, a heritage that Mentu sought to erase. The city outside the temple walls, however, was a different story. Mentu, fueled by his fervent devotion to the Aten, had intensified his efforts to dismantle the traditional temples. The rhythmic clang of hammers against stone echoed through the streets, a jarring counterpoint to the city's usual hum, as artisans, under Mentu's watchful eye, chiseled away the faces of Amun and Osiris, replacing them with the sun disk. The once vibrant festivals dedicated to the ancient pantheon were now suppressed, replaced by austere ceremonies honoring the Aten, creating a palpable tension that hung heavy in the air, like the dust kicked up by the relentless demolition. Whispers of discontent grew louder, a low thrum beneath the surface, as the people, deeply rooted in their ancestral beliefs, felt a profound emptiness where their gods once stood. One sweltering afternoon, as the sun beat down mercilessly on the temple precinct, a shadow fell across the entrance to the hidden chamber. Horem, his hand instinctively resting on the hilt of his bronze khopesh, narrowed his eyes. Mentu stood there, his gaunt frame silhouetted against the blinding light, his piercing gaze sweeping over Horem with an unnerving intensity. The air grew thick with unspoken challenge, a silent battle of wills. Still guarding the shadows, Horum. Mentu's voice, though calm, held an edge of condescension, a thinly veiled threat. The pharaoh's will is clear. All that does not serve the Aten must be purged. Are you truly serving the pharaoh, or clinging to the decaying remnants of a dying age? Horum met his gaze, his own eyes like chips of flint. My loyalty is to Egypt, and to the heritage that makes her eternal, overseer. The pharaoh's will is to protect his people, and their history. He spoke with a quiet authority that belied his words, his posture unyielding. Mentu's lips curled into a thin, humorless smile. History is written by the victors, Horum. And the Aten is victorious. I have heard rumors of your unusual interest in certain forbidden texts. Be warned. The sun's light reveals all, and those who hide in darkness will be consumed. With a final, chilling glance, Mentu turned and strode away, his linen robes rustling softly, leaving behind a lingering chill that belied the oppressive heat. Horum watched him go, a grin set to his jaw. He knew Mentu's words were not mere threats but promises. The net was tightening. He turned back to the chamber, his gaze softening slightly as he saw Neferu, illuminated by the flickering oil lamp, her brow furrowed in concentration. He had to protect her, and the knowledge she held. The night of the celestial alignment arrived, heralded by a sky of unparalleled clarity, a vast, inky canvas studded with diamonds. The air, usually warm, had taken on a crisp coolness, carrying the faint scent of the desert and the distant, rhythmic lapping of the Nile. Neferu and Horum, cloaked in dark, unassuming linen, moved like shadows through the deserted temple grounds, the colossal statues of the gods looming around them, their silent forms imbued with a new, urgent significance. The usual sounds of the city were muted, replaced by an almost reverent hush, as if even the world held its breath. Their destination was the great hypostyle hall, a forest of towering columns adorned with vibrant, ancient reliefs, now mostly obscured by the encroaching darkness. This was the heart of the old temple, a place of immense power and spiritual resonance, and according to the scrolls, the precise location where the celestial energies would converge. As they entered, the sheer scale of the hall swallowed them whole, the columns reaching towards an unseen ceiling, creating an awe-inspiring, almost overwhelming sense of sacred space. The air within was cool and still, carrying the faint, earthy smell of ancient stone and the lingering memory of countless rituals. Neferu clutched the precious papyrus scrolls to her chest, her heart thrumming with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. Her breath plumed faintly in the cool air. The texts speak of a specific alignment. Horum, she whispered, her voice barely audible in the vast silence. A moment when the veil between worlds thins, and the voices of the silent gods can be heard, if one knows how to listen. Horum nodded, his eyes scanning the shadows, ever watchful. And Mentu, he knows of this place, this night. He knows the old ways held power, but he believes it to be false, a deception, Neferu replied, her voice tinged with a quiet urgency. He seeks to prevent any who would honor them, to ensure the Aten's dominance. He will be here, Horum. He must. As if on cue, a faint scraping sound echoed from the far end of the hall, followed by the soft glint of lamplight. Mentu, accompanied by a small contingent of his loyal Atenist guards, emerged from the shadows, his face a mask of grim determination. He carried a heavy, ornate staff, its tip carved into the image of the Aten, radiating a cold, unwavering zeal. His eyes, sharp and predatory, immediately locked onto Neferu and Horum. So, the old gods still have their misguided devotees, Mentu's voice sliced through the silence, devoid of warmth. I knew you would come, Neferu. Your obsession with these relics of superstition blinds you to the true light. This temple, this night, will be the final grave of your false idols. Neferu stepped forward, her slender frame surprisingly resolute. These are not false idols, Mentu. They are the guardians of Egypt's soul, the very essence of our people's spirit. You seek to erase history, to silence the voices that have guided us for millennia. But the stars do not lie, and the Nile flows on, regardless of your decrees. Mentu laughed, a harsh, humorless sound that reverberated through the cavernous hall. The stars are but reflections of the Aten's glory, and the Nile flows at his command. Seize them. Destroy any scrolls you find. The Atenist guards, their faces grim and unyielding, advanced. Horum immediately moved, placing himself between Neferu and the approaching men, his khopesh drawn with a practiced, fluid motion. The metallic rasp of the blade against its sheath echoed ominously. He was a formidable figure, a seasoned warrior whose presence alone commanded respect, but they were outnumbered. Go, Neferu! Horum's voice was a low growl. Find your alignment. I will hold them. Neferu hesitated for only one heartbeat, her gaze meeting Horum's, a silent understanding passing between them. Then, with a surge of desperate courage, she turned and sprinted deeper into the labyrinthine heart of the hypostyle hall, her bare feet making almost no sound on the ancient flagstones. She knew the layout from the scrolls, a hidden passage, a specific column that marked the precise spot. Behind her, the clash of bronze against bronze rang out, a sharp, metallic symphony of conflict. Horum, a whirlwind of controlled power, parried and struck, his movements economical and deadly. He fought with a fierce, almost primal energy, not just for his own life, but for the legacy he now understood he was protecting. The guards, though numerous, found themselves facing a true master of combat, a man who moved with the grace of a predator and the strength of a bull. Neferu, her heart pounding in her ears, navigated the shadowy corridors, the scent of dust and ancient stone growing stronger. She passed towering columns adorned with faded depictions of gods and pharaohs, their silent faces seeming to watch her, urging her onward. Finally, she reached a clearing at the very center of the hall, where a single, massive column stood, its base carved with intricate astronomical symbols. This was it. The place of power. Above her, through an opening in the temple's roof, a sliver of the night sky was visible, a breathtaking tapestry of stars. And there, precisely as the scrolls had foretold, a brilliant star, Sirius, the dog star, was rising, its light piercing the darkness with an ethereal glow. It was accompanied by the faint, shimmering band of the Milky Way, stretching across the heavens like a river of starlight. The celestial alignment was upon them. She quickly unfurled the most crucial of the papyrus scrolls, its delicate surface illuminated by the faint starlight filtering through the aperture. The hieroglyphs, once cryptic, now seemed to pulse with a living energy. She began to chant, her voice soft at first, then growing in strength, the ancient words flowing from her lips like a forgotten melody. It was a hymn to the silent gods, a plea for remembrance, a prayer for the preservation of Egypt's true spirit. The words resonated with the very stones of the temple, a deep, harmonic vibration that seemed to awaken something ancient and profound. As she chanted, the starlight intensified, focusing into a beam that struck the top of the central column, then refracted downwards, illuminating the intricate carvings at its base. The symbols began to glow with a faint, otherworldly light, pulsing in rhythm with Neferu's chant. The air around her grew thick with an almost palpable energy, a sensation of immense power gathering, swirling around her like an invisible current. She felt a connection, a profound link to something vast and eternal, a sense of belonging to a heritage that stretched back to the dawn of time. Suddenly, a harsh cry of triumph echoed from the main hall. Mentu, his face contorted with fanatical rage, burst into the central clearing, his staff raised high. He had bypassed Horum, leaving the veteran guard to battle his remaining men. Blasphemy! Mentu shrieked, his voice raw with fury. You defile the true God with your pagan rituals. The Aten will not tolerate this. He lunged towards Neferu, his staff aimed at the glowing column, intending to shatter the focal point of her ritual. Neferu, caught in the trance-like state of her chanting, barely registered his approach, her eyes fixed on the celestial dance above. But Horum, battered and bruised, his breath coming in ragged gasps, appeared from the shadows with a roar, his khopesh a blur of bronze. He intercepted Mentu, their weapons clashing with a deafening clang that reverberated through the hall. Horum fought with a desperate ferocity, fueled by a deep-seated anger at Mentu's desecration and a fierce protectiveness for Neferu. He knew this was the moment, the culmination of everything. As they fought, the starlight above intensified further, and a low, resonant hum began to emanate from the very stones of the temple, a sound that seemed to come from the deepest core of the earth itself. It was a sound that vibrated through Neferu's bones, a symphony of ancient power awakening. The glowing symbols on the column pulsed brighter, casting long, dancing shadows that seemed to writhe with life. Mentu, momentarily distracted by the escalating power of the ritual, faltered. Horum seized the opportunity, disarming the zealot with a swift, powerful strike. Mentu's staff clattered to the ground, its Aten-carved tip shattering upon impact, the sound sharp and final in the echoing hall. Mentu stumbled back, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and disbelief, his fanaticism momentarily eclipsed by the raw, undeniable power emanating from the ancient stones. Neferu's chant reached its crescendo, her voice soaring through the vast space, weaving itself into the fabric of the celestial light. At that precise moment, Sirius reached its zenith, a blinding flash of pure, white light erupted from the column, momentarily engulfing the entire hall. It was not the harsh light of the sun, but a soft, warm, ethereal glow that seemed to penetrate every fiber of their being, filling the air with a sense of profound peace and ancient wisdom. In that incandescent light, Neferu felt a surge of understanding, a flood of ancient knowledge washing over her. She saw not just symbols and rituals, but the interconnectedness of all things: the river, the desert, the stars, the gods, and the people of Egypt, all part of a grand, eternal cycle. She felt the presence of the silent gods, not as physical beings, but as an overwhelming, benevolent force, a deep, abiding love for their land and its people. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated awe, a revelation that transcended words. When the light faded, leaving behind only the gentle glow of the stars and the oil lamps, the air in the hypostyle hall felt different. It was lighter, cleaner, imbued with a quiet, sacred energy. Mentu, stripped of his staff, stood trembling, his face pale, his fervent zeal replaced by a stunned silence. He had witnessed something he could not deny, a power far beyond his understanding, a force that dwarfed his human ambitions. His eyes, once burning with fanaticism, now held a haunted, hollow look. Horum, leaning heavily on his khopesh, watched Mentu with a weary but resolute gaze. He had fought, and he had protected. He had seen the power of the old ways, not as superstition, but as a living, breathing force. He felt a deep, quiet satisfaction, a renewed sense of purpose that settled in his bones. Neferu, her body trembling slightly from the intensity of the experience, slowly lowered the scroll. Her eyes, shining with a newfound wisdom, met Horum's. There was no need for words. They had done it. They had honored the alignment, preserved the knowledge, and rekindled a spark of the ancient spirit. The silent gods had spoken, not with thunder and lightning, but with a gentle, undeniable presence, a profound affirmation of their enduring power. The night air, now infused with a subtle, sacred hum, felt like a balm. The distant call of a night bird echoed softly from the Nile, a sound of timeless continuity. The colossal statues of the gods, once silent and imposing, now seemed to watch over them with a benevolent gaze, their ancient faces illuminated by the soft starlight. Neferu knew that the struggle for Egypt's soul was far from over, but in this moment, in this sanctuary of the silent gods, she had found the strength, the knowledge, and the unwavering hope that would guide her, and perhaps Egypt itself, through the tumultuous times ahead. The heritage was safe, for now, nestled once more in the heart of the land, waiting for the dawn of a new era. The heritage was safe, for now, nestled once more in the heart of the land, waiting for the dawn of a new era. The cool desert night, which had felt so oppressive just hours before, now seemed to breathe a sigh of relief alongside Neferu. The weight of the papyrus scrolls, carefully bound and hidden within the false bottom of a simple wooden chest, pressed reassuringly against the floor of the small, unassuming boat. Horum, his broad shoulders silhouetted against the faint glimmer of the eastern horizon, steered the felucca with a practiced hand, his gaze fixed on the dark, flowing expanse of the Nile. The air, still carrying the faint, sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine from the temple gardens, was beginning to yield to the crisp, clean promise of approaching dawn. A lone ibis, disturbed by their silent passage, lifted from the reeds with a soft rustle of wings, its cry a mournful echo across the water. Neferu sat huddled near the bow, her fingers tracing the rough grain of the wood, her mind replaying the perilous journey through the moonlit temple corridors, the hushed whispers, the shared glances of understanding with Horum as they navigated the labyrinthine passages. The ancient texts, which she had meticulously copied and then, with a heavy heart, secreted away from the prying eyes of the Atenist priests, represented not just words on papyrus, but the very soul of Egypt. They were the hymns to Amun, the rituals for Osiris, the wisdom of Thoth, all that the new cult sought to erase. A shiver, not of cold but of profound responsibility, ran down her spine. She remembered the glint in Horem's eyes as he had helped her secure the chest, a silent acknowledgement of the immense value of their cargo, a value far beyond gold or jewels. His initial skepticism, born of a soldier's pragmatic loyalty to the current pharaoh, had slowly dissolved into a shared understanding, a quiet pact forged in the shadowed halls of Karnak. The Egypt she sought to preserve. They continued their journey for what felt like an eternity, the gentle rocking of the boat a hypnotic rhythm. Neferu found herself drifting into a state of quiet contemplation, the tension of the previous night slowly easing its grip. She thought of her father, a respected scribe who had taught her the beauty of hieroglyphs and the importance of recording history truthfully. He would have been proud, she thought, of her courage, even as he would have worried for her safety. The memory of his kind smile, his ink-stained fingers guiding hers across a fresh sheet of papyrus, brought a bittersweet warmth to her heart. She was carrying on his legacy, ensuring that the voices of the past would not be silenced. Horem, for his part, remained stoic, his eyes constantly moving, assessing, anticipating. He was a man of action, accustomed to the clarity of battle, the directness of command. This clandestine mission, this quiet defiance, was a new kind of warfare for him, one fought with whispers and shadows rather than spears and chariots. Yet, he felt a strange sense of renewal. For too long, he had felt like a cog in a machine, enforcing decrees he sometimes questioned in his heart. Now, he was protecting something tangible, something sacred, something that resonated with the deep-seated reverence for tradition that had been instilled in him since childhood. He remembered his own father, a temple guard before him, speaking of the gods not as distant entities, but as living presences woven into the very fabric of Egypt. This mission, he realized, was not just about Neferu or the scrolls, it was about reclaiming a piece of himself, a piece of Egypt's soul that he feared had been lost. By midday, the sun beat down with relentless intensity, shimmering off the river's surface. Aya expertly guided the felucca into a narrow, winding tributary, its banks overgrown with dense papyrus reeds that offered excellent concealment. The air here was cooler, heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying vegetation. Insects buzzed lazily, and the occasional splash indicated a fish leaping from the water. They had found their temporary sanctuary. "We will rest here until nightfall," Aya announced, dropping the anchor with a soft thud. "It is too dangerous to travel in the open during the day, especially further south. There are patrols and eyes that see too much." He pulled out a small sack of dried dates and figs, offering them around. Neferu ate gratefully, the simple sweetness a welcome comfort after the long, adrenaline-fueled night. Horem accepted a few, his gaze still scanning the dense reeds, ever watchful. As the hours passed, the quiet solitude of the tributary allowed Neferu's mind to finally settle. She leaned against the wooden side of the boat, feeling the gentle sway, listening to the soft rustle of the reeds and the distant call of a kingfisher. The urgency of their escape had given way to a profound sense of relief, a deep breath exhaled after holding it for too long. She thought of the journey ahead, the unknown path they would take, the dangers that still lay before them. But for the first time in what felt like months, she felt a flicker of hope, a belief that their efforts would not be in vain. The knowledge they carried, the stories of the old gods, the wisdom of the ancestors, it would endure. Horam, despite his outward calm, felt the gnawing ache of responsibility. He knew that their escape was only the first step. The true challenge lay in safeguarding the scrolls, in finding a place where they could be preserved and perhaps, one day, return to their rightful place. He thought of the pharaoh, Akhenaten, and his zealous devotion to the Aten, a devotion that had plunged Egypt into turmoil. He did not question the pharaoh's sincerity, but he questioned the wisdom of erasing centuries of tradition, of alienating the very gods who had protected Egypt since its inception. His loyalty was to Egypt, to its enduring spirit, and in that moment, he felt a profound connection to Neferu, this young scribe who, despite her youth, carried the weight of that same loyalty. As dusk began to settle, painting the western sky in hues of deep violet and fiery orange, Aya began to prepare a small, discreet fire on a patch of dry ground near the bank. The smell of burning wood mingled with the earthy scent of the river, creating a comforting aroma. He spoke softly of the river's moods, of the stars that would guide them, of the ancient spirits that guarded its waters. He was a man steeped in the old ways, his pragmatism tempered by a deep reverence for the unseen forces that shaped his world. Neferu listened, captivated by his stories, feeling the ancient magic of the Nile seep into her very being. "The river will protect us," Aya said, his eyes gleaming in the firelight. "It has seen many changes, many pharaohs, many gods. But the river flows on, always." His words were a balm to Neferu's soul, a reminder of the enduring power of nature, of the cycle of life and death and rebirth that was so central to Egyptian belief. The river, she realized, was not just a means of escape, it was a symbol of continuity, a lifeline connecting the past to the future. Later, under the vast, star-studded canopy of the Egyptian night, they pushed off from the bank once more. The air was cool and crisp, carrying the faint, sweet scent of the desert. The only sounds were the gentle lapping of the water against the hull and the rhythmic creak of the oar as Aya skillfully guided the felucca downriver. Horam sat at the stern, his hand resting on the hilt of his concealed sword, his gaze fixed on the darkness ahead. Neferu, wrapped in a thin blanket, watched the stars, each one a tiny beacon in the immense darkness, each one a silent witness to the unfolding drama of Egypt. She thought of the journey ahead, the long passage south, away from the turmoil of Thebes. They would seek refuge in a remote temple, perhaps, or a hidden tomb, a place where the ancient texts could be safely kept, where their wisdom could be preserved for a time when Egypt would once again embrace its true heritage. It was a daunting task, a solitary quest, but she no longer felt alone. She had Horam, the stoic guard whose loyalty had shifted from a single pharaoh to the very soul of Egypt. And she had Aya, the riverman, whose simple wisdom and deep connection to the Nile offered a constant source of reassurance. As the hours drifted by, the moon, a slender crescent, began its slow ascent, casting a silvery sheen across the water. The distant call of a night bird echoed across the vastness, a hauntingly beautiful sound that spoke of solitude and resilience. Neferu felt a profound sense of peace settle over her, a quiet understanding that she was exactly where she needed to be, doing exactly what she was meant to do. The river, with its ancient embrace, carried them forward, a silent guardian of their precious cargo, a timeless witness to their unwavering purpose. She closed her eyes, not in sleep, but in a moment of deep reflection, allowing the gentle rocking of the boat and the soft sounds of the night to wash over her. The scent of the river, the cool air on her skin, the distant stars, all combined to create a profound sense of connection to the land, to its history, to its enduring spirit. The heritage was safe, for now, not just in the wooden chest, but in the hearts of those who dared to protect it, carried by the timeless current of the Nile, waiting for the dawn of a new era. The challenges ahead were immense, but the quiet strength she felt, born of shared purpose and unwavering faith in the ancient ways, was a powerful shield against the encroaching darkness. The river flowed on, and with it, the hope for Egypt's future. The challenges ahead were immense, but the quiet strength she felt, born of shared purpose and unwavering faith in the ancient ways, was a powerful shield against the encroaching darkness. The river flowed on, and with it, the hope for Egypt's future. The first rays of dawn, a soft, blushing pink, stretched across the eastern horizon, painting the sky above the sandstone cliffs of the Theban Necropolis. Neferu stood on the riverbank, the cool morning air raising goosebumps on her arms, watching Aya's felucca, its single sail now furled, drift gently towards the shore. Horam, a silent sentinel, stood beside her, his gaze fixed on the approaching boat, his hand resting almost unconsciously on the hilt of his ceremonial dagger. The wooden chest, now lighter, containing only the most precious, irreplaceable fragments, rested at her feet, a silent testament to their perilous night. The bulk of the scrolls, painstakingly copied or carefully selected, had been entrusted to Aya, tucked securely within the hidden compartments of his vessel, destined for a distant, discreet temple library far upriver. Aya, his sun-darkened face creased with a wide, reassuring smile, expertly guided the felucca into a small, secluded cove, the gentle lapping of water against the hull the only sound disturbing the morning's peace. He jumped ashore, his bare feet sinking slightly into the damp sand, and offered Neferu a hand. "The river was kind to us, little scribe," he rumbled, his voice a low, comforting murmur. "She always protects her own." Neferu nodded, a profound weariness settling deep into her bones, yet a quiet triumph bloomed in her heart. The weight of the world, which had pressed down on her for so long, had not vanished, but it had shifted, becoming a shared burden, a collective hope. "And you, Aya," she replied, her voice soft with gratitude, "were her faithful servant." Horam, his stern features softened by the dawn light, offered a rare, almost imperceptible nod to the boatman. "The cargo is safe?" he asked, his voice low, betraying a flicker of anxiety beneath his usual composure. Aya clapped a hand to his chest. "As safe as if it were the pharaoh's own treasury, my friend. The river guards her secrets well. No one saw us, no one suspected a thing. Just an old boatman taking his time on the current." He gestured vaguely upriver. "They will be received by those who understand their true value, far from the prying eyes of Akhenaten's zealous priests." Neferu closed her eyes for a moment, picturing the ancient scrolls, the wisdom of generations, now sailing towards sanctuary. The thought brought a wave of relief so potent it almost brought tears to her eyes. The fear of loss, which had been a constant companion, had finally begun to recede. She had done it. They had done it. The sun climbed higher, its golden rays beginning to warm the air, chasing away the morning chill. The colossal statues of Memnon, still shrouded in the lingering mists across the fields, seemed to watch over them, ancient sentinels of a timeless land. Neferu knew their task was far from over. The immediate danger to the scrolls had passed, but the larger struggle for Egypt's spiritual soul continued. The Atenist reforms, though perhaps waning in their most fervent intensity, still cast a long shadow over the land, threatening to erase the very memory of the old gods, the intricate tapestry of belief that had sustained Egypt for millennia. "We must return to the temple," Horem stated, his voice regaining its customary authority. "Our absence will soon be noted. We must maintain the illusion of normalcy." He looked at Neferu, a flicker of something akin to respect in his eyes. "You have proven yourself, little scribe. Your courage is as sharp as your mind." Neferu met his gaze, a quiet understanding passing between them. He had been a reluctant ally, a man bound by duty to a changing order, yet his deeper loyalty lay with the enduring spirit of Egypt, the very heritage she sought to protect. He had risked much for her, for the ancient ways. "And you, Horem," she responded, "have shown me the true meaning of guardianship." Aya, ever pragmatic, began to secure his felucca, preparing for his journey back downriver. "The river flows on," he declared, his voice echoing the sentiment from the previous night. "And so must we. Remember, little scribe, the river always finds its way to the sea, no matter the obstacles. So too will the truth find its way back to the hearts of men." He winked, then pushed off from the bank, his calloused hands expertly gripping the steering oar, his robust figure silhouetted against the brightening sky. He was a man of the river, a simple boatman, yet in his quiet defiance and his unwavering connection to the ancient currents, he embodied the resilience of Egypt itself. As Aya's felucca receded into the shimmering distance, Neferu and Horem began their walk back towards the bustling heart of Thebes. The city was stirring, the sounds of market vendors, the distant lowing of cattle, and the rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer slowly rising to meet the dawn. They walked in silence for a time, the weight of their shared secret a bond between them. Neferu felt a profound shift within herself. She was no longer merely a scribe-in-training, a quiet observer of the world. She was a guardian, a keeper of the flame, her hands now not just for copying texts, but for shaping the future. The small wooden chest, now clutched firmly in her hands, felt less like a burden and more like a sacred trust. It contained the fragments of papyrus that could not be copied, the delicate, irreplaceable pieces of history that would be hidden within the deepest, most secure chambers of the temple, awaiting the day when the old gods could once again be openly revered. Horem, walking a respectful distance beside her, his presence a silent shield, understood the significance of her task. He would ensure her access, protect her work, and stand as a bulwark against those who sought to erase the past. Over the following weeks and months, life in Thebes settled into a new, precarious rhythm. The fervor of Akhenaten's Atenist cult, while still powerful, began to show subtle cracks. Rumors of discontent from the northern capital, Akhenaten, filtered down the Nile, whispers of the pharaoh's waning health, of a court increasingly isolated from the realities of the vast empire. Neferu, with Horem's tacit protection, found herself granted unprecedented access to the temple's hidden archives, chambers rarely entered by anyone but the most senior priests. The air within these ancient rooms was cool and dry, carrying the faint, sweet scent of millennia-old incense and dry papyrus, a perfume of history. Dust motes danced in the shafts of light that pierced the high windows, illuminating rows upon rows of scrolls, tablets, and carvings, each a testament to the enduring wisdom of Egypt. She spent her days meticulously cataloguing, translating, and copying, her nimble fingers often smudged with ink, her keen eyes poring over hieroglyphs that spoke of cosmic cycles, of the intricate rituals for the dead, of the benevolent reign of Osiris and the protective embrace of Isis. She discovered texts that detailed the true history of the pharaohs, their lineage stretching back to the very first kings, a narrative far richer and more complex than the simplified, Aten-centric version now being propagated. Her work was slow, painstaking, and often solitary, yet she felt a profound connection to the scribes who had come before her, their silent voices speaking across the centuries through the delicate strokes of their pens. Horem, meanwhile, continued his duties as a temple guard, his imposing figure a familiar sight within the grand courtyards and echoing halls. He moved with a quiet authority, his presence a deterrent to any who might seek to disrupt the fragile peace or question the activities within the temple's inner sanctums. He would often pass by Neferu's secluded chamber, his footsteps echoing softly in the quiet corridor, sometimes pausing just outside the door, listening to the rhythmic scratch of her reed pen on papyrus, a sound that, to him, had become a symphony of preservation. He understood that the true strength of Egypt lay not just in its armies or its monuments, but in the unbroken chain of its knowledge, its stories, its spiritual heart. One evening, as the sun dipped below the western cliffs, casting long, purple shadows across the Nile, Neferu emerged from the archives, her mind buzzing with the day's discoveries. She found Horem standing by the temple's main gate, his gaze fixed on the river, where the last feluccas of the day were making their way towards their moorings. "The river is restless tonight," he observed, his voice a low rumble. "A storm brews, perhaps." Neferu joined him, drawing her linen shawl tighter around her shoulders as the evening breeze picked up. "Or perhaps," she mused, "the river senses change. The Aten's light, though still bright, feels distant." Horem turned to her, his weathered face etched with a rare, contemplative expression. "The old ways are resilient, little scribe. They are like the granite of Aswan, enduring long after the sands have claimed lesser stones." He paused, then continued, his voice softer than usual. "I have seen many pharaohs rise and fall. Each believes their reign will last forever, their gods the only true gods. But Egypt endures. Its spirit is woven into the very fabric of this land, into the flow of the Nile, into the stars above." Neferu looked at him, truly seeing the man beneath the hardened exterior. He was not just a guard, but a guardian of something far greater than any single pharaoh or dogma. He was a keeper of Egypt's soul. "And you, Horem, are a part of that endurance," she said, a warmth spreading through her. He offered a faint, almost imperceptible smile, a rare softening of his stern features. We all are, little scribe. Each in our own way. You, with your words. Aya, with his river. And I, with my sword, and my vigilance. The moon, a slender crescent, began to rise, casting a silvery sheen upon the dark waters of the Nile. The air grew cooler, carrying the scent of blooming night jasmine and the faint, earthy smell of the river. The rhythmic creak of a distant water wheel, the chirping of crickets, and the occasional call of a night bird created a soothing symphony, a lullaby for the ancient land. In the quiet solitude of her chamber later that night, Neferu lit a small oil lamp, its flickering flame casting dancing shadows on the walls. She carefully unrolled a new piece of papyrus, its surface smooth and ready. Her reed pen, dipped in black ink, hovered for a moment, then began to move, tracing the elegant curves and sharp angles of hieroglyphs. She was not copying an ancient text tonight. She was writing her own observations, her own understanding of the events unfolding around her, a chronicle of a turbulent time, a testament to the resilience of faith and the enduring power of tradition. She wrote of the shifting sands of belief, of the quiet courage of those who dared to remember, of the river that carried secrets and hopes alike. She wrote of the subtle dance between change and permanence, of the understanding that even in the face of upheaval, the true essence of Egypt, its deep connection to the divine, would ultimately prevail. The lamp cast a warm, golden glow around her, illuminating her focused face, her brow furrowed in concentration, yet her eyes held a serene light. She was a bridge between eras, a vessel for the ancient wisdom, ensuring its passage into the future. The knowledge she protected was not static, it was a living, breathing entity, capable of adapting, of finding new forms, new hearts in which to reside. As the night deepened, and the city outside grew quiet, Neferu continued to write, her pen a steady, rhythmic whisper against the papyrus. The world outside might be in turmoil, but within these ancient walls, within her heart, there was a profound sense of peace, a quiet triumph. The heritage was safe, not just in the hidden chambers or on distant riverbanks, but in the very act of remembering, of understanding, of preserving. The Nile flowed on, an eternal ribbon of life, carrying the whispers of the past into the promise of the future. The stars, ancient and unchanging, glittered above, watching over the land of Egypt, a land that had weathered countless storms, a land whose spirit, like the river itself, would flow on forever, carrying its wisdom, its stories, its quiet strength, into the endless cycles of time. Neferu, the young scribe, now a true guardian, felt the deep, comforting rhythm of the universe, a lullaby of endurance, a promise of rebirth, as she continued her sacred work, ensuring that the ancient wisdom would never truly be lost, but would simply wait, like the seeds beneath the desert sands, for the opportune moment to bloom anew. Neferu, the young scribe, now a true guardian, felt the deep, comforting rhythm of the universe, a lullaby of endurance, a promise of rebirth, as she continued her sacred work, ensuring that the ancient wisdom would never truly be lost, but would simply wait, like the seeds beneath the desert sands, for the opportune moment to bloom anew. The sun, a familiar golden orb, had begun its slow descent towards the western cliffs of Thebes, painting the sky in hues of apricot and rose, a gentle benediction upon the land she so deeply cherished. From her quiet alcove within the temple library, a space she had meticulously organized and protected through years of tumult, Neferu watched the light soften, her fingers, still occasionally smudged with the dark ink of her craft, resting upon a scroll of ancient hymns, their words whispering of gods and rituals that had endured for millennia. The air, though warm, carried a subtle coolness now, a promise of the evening breeze that would soon sweep across the Nile, rustling the papyrus reeds along its banks. The distant sounds of the city, the lowing of cattle, the chatter of merchants packing away their wares, the rhythmic clang of a distant hammer, all began to fade, replaced by the more ancient, enduring symphony of the twilight hour. A lone ibis, its graceful silhouette etched against the fiery sky, soared silently towards its roost, a timeless symbol of wisdom and peace. Neferu watched it vanish, a quiet smile touching her lips, a sense of profound contentment settling within her heart. The years had woven their tapestry around her, deepening the lines of wisdom around her keen eyes, but never dimming their observant sparkle. The fervor of the Atenist reforms had long since waned, leaving behind a landscape scarred by absence, yet slowly, painstakingly, being reclaimed by the old gods, by the ancient ways. Temples that had been defaced were being restored, their sacred carvings lovingly recarved, their altars once more alight with offerings. The names of Amun, Mut, and Khonsu, once whispered in fear, were now proclaimed with joyous reverence throughout the land, their enduring power a testament to the resilience of faith. Neferu had been a quiet, steadfast force in this restoration, her knowledge of the ancient texts, her meticulous preservation of the true histories, invaluable to the scribes and priests who now sought to mend what had been broken. She had worked tirelessly, often by the flickering light of an oil lamp, copying, translating, explaining, her voice a soft, steady current in the swirling waters of change. She had seen the fear in people's eyes turn to hope, the uncertainty to conviction, and in that transformation, she had found her own profound purpose. A gentle knock at the library door drew her from her reverie. It was Aya, his sun-darkened face now etched with the deeper lines of age, his once booming laugh softened into a warm chuckle, but his eyes still held the mischievous glint of the riverman. He carried a small, woven basket, its contents emitting the sweet, earthy scent of freshly baked bread and ripe figs. "The stars are beginning to show themselves, Neferu," he announced, his voice a low rumble, "and even the most dedicated guardian of wisdom must eat." He set the basket on a low table, his gaze sweeping over the scrolls and papyri that filled the shelves, a silent acknowledgement of the precious cargo she protected. Neferu rose, stretching her back with a soft sigh. "And even the most seasoned riverman must rest his bones," she countered gently, a fond smile gracing her lips. "Come, sit. The air is cooler by the window." They settled onto a cushioned bench, the last vestiges of daylight fading into a deep indigo. Aya broke the bread, offering her the larger portion, a gesture of respect that had deepened over their many years of shared journeys. "The river is quiet tonight," he mused, chewing slowly. "A good omen, I think. No restless spirits, no troubled currents. Just the gentle pull towards the great beyond." He often spoke of the river as if it were a living, breathing entity, a wise old friend who whispered secrets to him. And in truth, it was. Through Aya, Neferu had heard the pulse of Egypt beyond the temple walls, the rumors from distant villages, the news from trade routes, the quiet anxieties and enduring hopes of the common people. He had been her eyes and ears, her steadfast ally, providing safe passage on countless clandestine journeys to retrieve hidden texts or to simply observe the shifting tides of power. The land feels at peace, Neferu agreed, her gaze drifting towards the distant shimmer of the Nile, now a ribbon of silver under the emerging stars. The wounds are healing, Aya. Slowly, but surely. Aya nodded, his eyes fixed on the river. The river always heals itself, Neferu. It carries away the silt, brings new life with the flood. It remembers, but it does not cling to sorrow. It simply flows. He paused, then added, I saw the new carvings in the Temple of Mut today. They are beautiful. So much like the old ones, as if no time had passed. Neferu's heart swelled with quiet pride. The scribes have worked diligently, guided by the true designs we preserved. It is a testament to the enduring power of what is true, what is sacred. Even when it seemed lost, it was simply waiting to be rediscovered. They ate in comfortable silence for a while, the simple flavors of the bread and figs a balm to their souls. The sounds of the night grew clearer, the chirping of crickets, the distant howl of a jackal, the soft hoot of an owl from the palm groves. The air grew cooler, carrying the faint, sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine from a nearby garden. Do you ever think of those days, Neferu? Aya asked softly, breaking the quiet. When the world felt as if it were turning upside down. When the very names of the gods were forbidden. Neferu closed her eyes for a moment, letting the memories wash over her like the gentle current of the Nile. She remembered the fear, the whispered conversations, the clandestine meetings in the shadows of Karnak, the desperate efforts to hide the sacred texts, to preserve the knowledge that defined their world. She remembered the unwavering conviction that had burned within her, a small, steady flame against the encroaching darkness. I do, she admitted, opening her eyes. But I think of them not with bitterness, but with a strange kind of gratitude. They taught me the true value of what we nearly lost. They showed me the strength of faith, not in grand pronouncements, but in the quiet devotion of ordinary people, in the enduring power of a story, a hymn, a simple carving. Aya grunted in agreement. The river teaches you that too. The biggest storms pass. The deepest waters always find their way. And the old gods, they are like the river itself. They are always there, flowing beneath the surface, waiting for us to remember them. He stood up, stretching his arms above his head, his joints creaking softly. I should be heading back to my felaka. The moon will be full soon, and the river calls to me. Perhaps a quiet journey upstream, to see the stars reflected in the calm waters. Neferu rose as well, walking with him to the library's entrance. May your journey be peaceful, old friend. And may the river bless you with its wisdom. Aya turned, his eyes twinkling. And may your ink never run dry, Neferu, for there are still so many stories to tell, so much wisdom to record. The future generations will need to know what we learned. With a final nod, he stepped out into the deepening twilight, his silhouette merging with the shadows. Neferu watched him go, a profound sense of connection to the river, to the land, to the long, unbroken chain of generations, filling her heart. She returned to her alcove, but instead of resuming her work, she simply sat, gazing out at the night. The moon, a sliver of silver, was beginning to ascend, casting a soft, ethereal glow over the landscape. The colossal statues of Memnon, far across the river on the western bank, were now dark, silent sentinels, their ancient faces turned towards the east, awaiting the dawn. Their enduring presence, having witnessed countless sunrises and sunsets, countless floods and droughts, countless empires rise and fall, was a powerful reminder of the timelessness of Egypt. Neferu thought of the countless scribes who had come before her, their hands tracing the same hieroglyphs, their minds grappling with the same profound questions about life, death, and the divine. She thought of the priests who had chanted the same hymns, the pharaohs who had built the same magnificent temples, all striving to connect with the eternal, to leave a legacy that would echo through time. She was but one thread in this vast, intricate tapestry, yet she understood the immense privilege and responsibility of her role. The cool, dusty air of the library, usually a comfort, now felt like a gentle embrace. It carried the faint, almost imperceptible scent of millennia-old papyrus, of dried herbs, of the subtle musk of ancient stone. It was the scent of history, of knowledge, of the very breath of Egypt. She closed her eyes, not in weariness, but in contemplation. She imagined the Nile, flowing ceaselessly, carrying its life-giving waters from the distant southern lands, through the heart of Egypt, and out to the great green sea. It was the artery of the land, the source of all life, the eternal witness to every joy and sorrow, every triumph and struggle. Its rhythm was the rhythm of Egypt itself, a slow, steady, enduring beat that transcended all change, all upheaval. In her mind's eye, she saw the Valley of the Kings, now a place of quiet reverence, its hidden tombs once again guarding their sacred secrets. She saw the temples of Karnak and Luxor, their towering pylons and hypostyle halls bathed in moonlight, their ancient stones whispering tales of gods and kings, of devotion and power. She saw the humble mud-brick homes of the villagers, nestled amidst the palm groves, their lives intertwined with the cycles of the river and the sun. All of it, she realized, was interconnected, a vast, living organism sustained by the enduring spirit of the land, by the unwavering faith of its people, and by the sacred wisdom that she, and others like her, had striven so hard to preserve. The Atonist interlude, though a period of profound disruption, had ultimately served to strengthen their resolve, to deepen their appreciation for the ancient truths. It had been a test, a trial by fire, from which Egypt had emerged not unscathed, but undeniably stronger, its roots reaching deeper into the fertile soil of its heritage. Neferu felt a profound sense of peace settle over her, a quiet understanding that transcended the immediate concerns of her life. Her work was not just about preserving old texts, it was about nurturing the soul of a civilization, ensuring that its essence, its unique spirit, would continue to inspire and guide future generations. She was a bridge between the past and the future, a guardian of the flame that illuminated the path forward. The moon rose higher, casting long, silvery shadows across the library floor. The air grew still, the sounds of the night receding into a gentle hum. Neferu remained seated, her breathing deep and even, her heart filled with a quiet, boundless hope. The Nile, she knew, would continue its eternal journey, its waters reflecting the stars, carrying the whispers of ancient wisdom, bearing witness to the unfolding story of Egypt, a story that, like the river itself, would flow on forever, a timeless melody of endurance, a lullaby of rebirth, a promise of peace that settled over the land, and within her own quiet, watchful heart. The world outside the temple walls, and within them, slowly, gently, drifted into a profound and tranquil stillness. And there we leave it, a story told, a night well spent. Thank you for trusting easy drift sleep with your rest. If these stories bring you comfort, subscribing means we can keep making them for you. Good night. Sleep well.